This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a 5 on a deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia sends one the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. And the legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season. Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, Commander. You've updated the Open and got some of our new friends in there.
Yeah, well, I had to get the Eno Saris laughing there. When you're talking about stuff,
like it.
You're talking about Stuff Plus, you got to get Eno Saris in
He's
there.
the originator. He's our national baseball columnist, Eno Saris. Are we going to have him on? By the way, we're back. We're finally back. We're out of hibernation from the offseason. We haven't been on since the winter meetings in Nashville. Welcome back to A's Cast Live.
Whoa. Fantasy camp.
Oh, that's right, fantasy camp.
But yes, other than that, it was winter meetings, correct.
Winter meetings, fantasy camp. We are back in the Valley of the Sun. It is great to be with you as it's now the journey has started. 2024. Hard to believe. But yes, spring training has started. We are here. We will take you throughout the rest of spring. We'll take you through the entire season and hopefully the postseason. I know it seems like a long shot, but stranger things have happened in our world. There's no question about it. But yeah, we're here for you throughout the entire season. A's Cast Live, which you know is our daily talk show. We'll do Monday through Friday before the games. Of course, I'll have the pregame show for you, and then of course the postgame show, and then all the different things that we're going to do for you, covering this team and this organization in 2024. It's great to be back, Cody. The sun is out. Spring training. This is like a normal spring training. Remember last year?
Oh, God.
It was freezing cold. Paul Blackburn out here shivering. No, the sun is out. I've actually been in Arizona the past couple of days over in Scottsdale. The weather has been beautiful. So when you're ready to come down for the first game on Saturday, is that against the Brew Crew?
I thought it was was it the Brewers? Or is it Rockies? Colorado Rockies.
The Rockies.
Bud Black and the Rockies.
First game against the Rock Pile, Rocktobers, they used to call it. So that will be Saturday. Weather's great. If you've got time, come on down. Joe Pun, who runs this facility, is going to join us later this week. They've got a new hazy IPA that can only be bought here at the ballpark. So there's all kinds of new tricks that we have at Hohokam Stadium, but it's going to be an interesting spring. And we've been able already, we've talked to the big lefty, Kyle Muller, want to get to Joey Estes, who is going to be a big part of our future as a starting pitcher. And then Lucas Erceg, who is one of the great stories in our world, in our A's bubble, and really in baseball, what he's been through in his life. I got to host the 38th or 39th annual Santa Clara County Baseball Banquet, where the A's and the Giants show up, and San Jose State, Stanford, Santa Clara, and honored Lucas Erceg. Also, Nico Horner, the Cubs were there. It's a great opportunity for me. The past couple of years, I've been able to MC this banquet. I actually was started before COVID and then went on hiatus, and now it's back. So we honored Lucas Erceg. We'll talk to him about that. So we got a couple pictures we're going to bring to you today, and then we're going to have a ton, like later after we do this show, we're going to get a bunch of the starting pitchers. We'll start to get the position players, want to get the big boys out of the way. I think later on today, we're going to be able to talk to Zach Geloff, find out how his offseason's been going. We talked to those guys not too long ago. We got Noda, Nick Allen, Zach Geloff while we were down here in the Valley of the Sun for fantasy camp. But, there's some new news about Geloff. How about Geloff getting some tips from a Juan Soto? I want to remind Geloff that, I like walks, but I want to see us swing it. Let's not get all Juan Soto.
Are they going to say, is he going to walk more? Is like that what we're?
Don't even get me started on that.
A lot of high praise for Geloff. A lot of people think he could be a 2020 guy this year. I mean, he had 14 and 14 last year, if I'm not mistaken. He was one of the best players in the second half of the year, especially for rookies. He was great in the American League. And, it's going to be a big year for him going forward. Hopefully he can get to that 2020 and achieve and become a better defender, working more with Nick Allen up the middle. That could be a great 1-2 combo, a double play combo there.
Daryl Hernandez.
Yeah, so, I mean, we got a lot of guys come up, but Geloff's the guy to watch this year. I mean, yeah, he's out of the Rookie of the Year race, but he could be a guy that, could be a 3-4 war player if he has a good year and, help this team get better. Because we talked about this at Fantasy Camp with some of the guys today and there. Can't do 50 wins again. So
I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
I forgot. Hernandez or Hernandez? What did we do to Sab?
I thought it was Hernandez. I thought that's what it was.
Because everybody was going Hernandez, then we found out it was Hernandez.
Yeah. We'll see. We got to get him. I'm sure he's here.
Supposedly the reports are he can absolutely swing it. So we're going to have this thing. As we like to say, we're going to cover it like a Snuggie. We'll cover everything here down in Mesa, Arizona. But yeah, this is how we're going to start. And you're going to sense it when we do the interviews. And I know it's not about me. I like to think it's about me, but it's not about me. But let me tell you something. As the guy that's got to interact with the fans every day, I see the fans. I talk to the fans. I got to talk to them after every single game. Love talking to all of our fans. I'm the guy that's out in the treehouse. I'm the guy that they can talk to. I'm the guy that they can touch. I can't go through another year like last year. That was unacceptable. It was terrible. Can't do that again. And you're going to get the sense in some of the interviews that we're going to do with players that they understand that. And there's a lot of noise. There's so much noise going on that has nothing to do with what's behind us. We cover baseball. That's what we do. And we've told you that now for a while. We're not going to get involved in all of the outside noise. That's a no-win proposition. A no-win proposition for us. Our job is to cover the baseball. The players, the front office, the coaches. That's what we do. All of the major news that's going on is all about the outside stuff that has nothing to do with baseball. And to me, that's going to play to a big advantage for the guys in this clubhouse. You're going to hear while we're down here that it's not going to be like last year. What's the over and under? Last time I looked at, was it 55 that Nevada had for over and under?
If it's not 55, it was like 57 and a half.
I saw like 55. It went to 57. I mean, I saw 55.
Yeah, I'd have to. There's a guy that I learned about years ago working with someone who to follow from the Superbook. I'll look and see what it was.
Yeah, look at it. But I saw 55. Either way, that's unacceptable. There's no more excuses. Last year was train wreck, and we knew it was going to be a train wreck. And you were going to play a lot of different guys, and that's what we kept saying was, you know what? Play these guys. I don't care if you win or you lose. Play these guys. Get them the experience. Get them up here. Let them understand. Joey Estes today, you're going to learn exactly what I was talking about last year constantly. Get them up here. Give them a bite of the carrot. So when they go into the offseason, they know what they're training for, mentally and physically, especially mentally. Training physically is one thing, but you got to train mentally to be prepared to play at the highest level. I don't care if you're in the NFL, the NBA, you're playing the PGA Tour, you're playing tennis, whatever you're playing at the highest level, you mentally have to train and prepare. And the best way to do that is to give these guys a taste at some point, and we gave a boatload of guys taste last year, and we only won 50 games. But you know what? That's done with. Can't go through that again. And everybody has to be held to a standard of that's not acceptable, starting with the general manager. He'll say it, David Forrest. Then comes the manager, Mark Kotsay. I mean, Mark Kotsay can't stand for this. Nobody can stand for this. I don't care what your payroll is. Payroll means nothing. Everybody, that's something we'll get into a little bit later while we're down here. The whole ridiculous, the Dodgers spent $1.2 billion this offseason. That's all everybody wants to talk about. It's like, well, that's great. They still don't even know who their starting five is going to be now. They don't know who it's going to be during the middle of the season. They don't know who it's going to be during the playoffs, as they got bounced early from the playoffs. And here the Arizona Diamondbacks are with 84 wins in the World Series. It's like, stop talking about the money. There is talent in this clubhouse right now. And that, all the outside noise about Vegas and relocation and is it going to be the next 3 years? Is it Sacramento? Is it Salt Lake? Is it Oakland? Whatever. All of that is where this team can actually come out and surprise some people. Now, I'm not saying they're going to come out and win 85-plus games, but it's going to be better than 50. It's got to be better than 50. And everybody has to be accountable. Everybody. Hell, we got to be accountable. Cannot happen. You got to be better than that. You got to have pride.
55.5 is what it was. So
So it's 55. That you can't win more than 55 games? Come on. There's more talent. There's been added veteran depth from the standpoint of starting pitching, which is something we'll get into big time, because I think it's laughable. I love our guy, Martin Gallegos. When are we going to talk to him, by the way? Probably later in the week.
Yeah, he's in the club. I saw him today. Talked to him.
He's got to do it. But I saw earlier, not too long ago, one of his early articles talking about the projected 5. Nobody has a projected 5. If you think you've got 5 starting pitchers, good luck. You need about 13 to 15. It has now become ridiculous to talk about, well, can this guy break the starting 5? Starting five? You show me the team in the first month of the season that only uses 5 starters, right? Or show me what your projected 5 is at the start of spring training. Go to every beat writer and go, give me your projected 5. And after month 1 of the regular season, your rotation won't look anything like that. You need depth and you need innings. And luckily, the A's have gone out and signed some veterans that are hopefully going to add to those innings. But I don't want to hear that there's only one spot open for the rotation. It's like, I've been around too long. I've been around this too long for me to think that as the A's, we're looking around going, hey, listen, there's just a battle for the 5 spot. We'll literally use at least 15 starting pitchers this year. And that's got to give all these younger guys that taste, that knowing that opportunity is in front of them. And I'm going to say it to Muller. I'm going to say it to Estes. I'm going to say it to all these guys. Every single time you step on this field, every single time you're on the mound, I don't care if it's in the bullpen, I don't care if it's throwing BP, once we get into games, every single drill that you do, there has to be the mindset, I'm doing this to be in the rotation. Because everybody is going to get their shot. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, I like the additions of Stripling and Wood to add that veteran presence. And Ross Stripling had the quote the other day that he sees in the clubhouse that's a lot like the Blue Jays when he was with them in 2020 with the young Vlad, Bichette, Biggio. So you got guys like that who, like Stripling, who's been around, was with the Giants last year, that he knows that there's talent in the clubhouse. And 55.5 wins, I mean, there's no way that they're 50-win teaming. I think they're.
Can I go Mike Singletary? Can't do it.
Well, I mean,
can't do it.
We don't have to play the audio today, but we can get to it later this week.
I want winners.
No, our good friend Mike Farron seemed like he was flabbergasted. It could be the correct word by the Duke, Jim Duquette's prediction that the White Sox would be the worst team in baseball next year or this upcoming season. And Farron's like, oh, worse than Oakland, huh? And,
yeah, because everybody is following the national narrative.
Oh, correct. Yes.
Okay. Everybody is following this national narrative that's been put on this organization. It is what it is. I'm not here to defend it. I'm not here to pile on it. I'm just saying there's a national narrative. I've been covering professional sports and I've been covering teams for over 30 years. And I'm going to tell you, none of it matters. I'm going to go back to my Oakland Raiders pregame show days that I did with Bill Romanowski, 4-time Super Bowl champion. He played in 5 Super Bowls. And he got, Townie, guess what? Talking about the Super Bowl. He said 2 weeks of all the noise. You've got media day. You've got bulletin board material. You've got all that. Somebody's getting arrested. You got everything that happens. And he go, guess what, Townie? After the national anthem and all that crap, once you kick the football off, none of that mattered. This man who played in 5 Super Bowls, 1 and 4. All the hype, all the noise, as I'd like to call it. Because that's really what they'd always talk about in football. All my years covering football was the noise was outside the building. Everything outside the building, the only thing that matters is inside the building. You don't worry about the outside noise. So I'm equating it to our baseball world here. All the outside noise. It doesn't matter, man, because once the ball's kicked off, the only thing that matters is blocking and tackling, is your game plan, the human beings playing the sport. So all this stuff, and of course, Cody makes fun of me because I'm still the dinosaur that buys the magazines. And now with guys signing so late, the magazines, you got to fill them in as you go. But the reality is, we're still dealing with human beings who are going to play a sport. So everything that everybody's talking about on the outside, it doesn't mean anything. Can you throw strikes? Can you get ahead of hitters? Can you get on base? Can you play defense? Do you score runs? Run prevention's the number one thing in our game. As much as everybody wants to talk about fantasy stats, the number one thing is, can you keep the other team from scoring? That's the number one thing. How's your pitching? How's your defense? Yes, hitting home runs is great, but run prevention still is the number one thing in our sport. And we're going to play it. And these players, the outside noise means nothing. So if you want to buy into the narrative like our buddy Farron is doing, because it's easy to do that, that's the easy thing. But once it comes down to the actual sport and they get in between the lines, what do you think when a pitcher goes out there to go out to battle and to battle a hitter, he's out there going, gee, what did Ken Rosenthal write in The Athletic?
I'm going to go with no.
No.
Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. I thought Mark Kotsay's initial speech, and we'll talk to Kotz, brought to you by Nest Betting. I thought the example of Brent, I can't wait to talk to Kotz because it's going to be like, I saw him earlier today, said, good morning, good to see you. But we're going to say to him, last year, not acceptable, right? Like, I mean, at some point, Kotsay's got to start looking at his record as a manager and start saying, man, I got to turn this thing around. I mean, we all got to start looking at it like, hey, man, wins got to start coming. But anyway, I like how he started talking about Brent Rooker. Who was Brent Rooker going into last spring?
He was the guy that we didn't know he was going to make the roster. Fighting to be the fourth outfielder?
If I had to hear one more time how he won the Triple Crown in the SEC, I was going to throw up. Like, I don't care.
He was a great college baseball player, though.
Yeah, great. You want to go back to my college career? You want to go back to...
Did you want a pitching Triple Crown? Or
no, but I got some high profile wins and saves.
Hey, that's all that matters.
But anyway, it's like Brent Rooker. Who was Brent Rooker? I mean, he has opportunity with the Twins, had his opportunity with the Royals, had his opportunity with the Padres. He's what, 20? Was he 28, 29 last year, spring training?
Yeah, I think he's 29 now.
It was your typical somebody in the A's front office has liked him since his days at Mississippi State, blah, 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 blah. How many times we heard that? And it's like, all right, doesn't run real well, doesn't throw real well, doesn't really play great defense, but yeah, he can hit, but he's right-handed. So what are we, he's going to, DH? And does a young team really need a DH? I mean, a young team needs the DH spot for a lot of teams now. It's a place to, if you want to rest a guy, I think for more established teams, you can rest a guy just to get him 4 at-bats. But for the A's, to me, going into last year, you got a guy who's going to DH. What now? You need at-bats for young players, right? If Soderstrom comes up and Noda's playing first base, I need Sody to get at bats. Well, DH him. I don't need an older guy who's not a part of the future. I'm trying to find guys for 28 when a new ballpark opens up. Brent Rooker is a great example of a guy who came in, hit the ball hard, played okay defense. He made the roster on the very night of what are we doing here? We're breaking camp. It's the last discussion. He was the last discussion, the very last. Like, what are we doing? And if you remember, we gave up a player in Christian Pache who was out of options. You knew if you don't take him, he's gone. And he was part of that big trade with Atlanta. And you're like, all right, what are we going to do here? You gave up Matt Olson. So you're going to take Brent Rooker over Christian Pache. What, has Pache been any good? No. But don't you want to give a guy that you traded Matt Olson for every opportunity because he has skills? We know that. And they went through with decision. Brent Rooker, on record, I did not agree with it. I thought it was a bad move. I thought it was a move made for now, not for the future when we should be building for the future. But in the end, it worked out. Next thing you know, Brent Rooker just goes off in Baltimore in that 4-game set. They just could not, the Orioles at that point, could not get him out. And at that point, think about that. It was earlier in the season. That was when people were like, it's still the Orioles. Well, little did we know that little Oriole engine that would win the AL East and win over 100 games. Our good friend of the program from Santa Rosa, Brandon Hyde, their manager. Can't wait to have him on again.
We'll get him, yeah.
Remember, we were having him on when everyone's like, why are you having him on? I'm like, well, he's a local guy. He's from Santa Rosa. So we had him on before he was the AL manager of the year. But
our good friend Cole Irvin's still there.
Cole Irvin's still there.
So I think we know anyone else on the team. Fuji's no longer there. Fuji's now Met.
Yeah, how about that? The Big Apple.
But the Orioles in the offseason quickly. Corbin Burns, nice move. Now that Kyle Bradish, their guy
that was awful news.
He was great. Like, finished 4th in the American League in Cy Young, the righty for Baltimore. Now is going to be out to start the season. John Means behind schedule. So you think they're going in the spring training going, oh, well, we have our 5 guys set. And, we got
Who's got 5 set?
Yeah, I'm saying that they don't have 5 guys.
I mean, once again, I'm not getting on our guy Martin guy who goes, when you're a beat writer, you've got to produce content, right? And one of the things that's traditional in our game is who's your 5? Who's got 5? Who's got 5?
The Dodgers think that everyone thinks the Dodgers have 5 with Yamamoto and Tyler Castro.
Yamamoto's a stud. Like we saw that in the WBC. But he pitches once every 6 days, and he's never pitched at this level yet.
Yeah, and everyone's like, well, Glasnow, the best is ahead. He's 30, and his most innings ever thrown was 121 last season. You got Walker Buehler coming back from Tommy John surgery. Clayton Kershaw's a year older, but he might be their most reliable starting pitcher they have right now.
Wait. Reliable? He's not going to be available till after the All-Star break. Kershaw, he had surgery.
He did?
On his shoulder, yeah.
Oh, okay, so Kershaw's out.
Kershaw's not starting the season in the rotation.
They only got they got Bobby Miller, the rookie they had last year, the flamethrower, who pitched like
one guy.
Yeah, they got one guy that they traded Pepio, the kid that they had in the deal for Glasnow, who started some games for them last year. So yeah, they got
We're
question
missing
marks.
Somebody. There's who's the guy who was in the All-Star game at Dodger Stadium?
Starter?
Yeah, what the hell was his name? We're missing a guy. Hold on.
Dodgers. Let's see. Who's the Dodgers' other starting pitcher? Let's see what Fangraphs has for.
As soon as you see it.
Oh, Ginger Guard's not pitching. He's still hurt. Oh, they signed James Paxton this offseason. He can't stay healthy.
Big Maple.
Emmett Sheehan was another guy they had. Yeah, that's it.
No, the right-handed guy from
Tony Gonsolin's out. He's out. He had Tommy John, I think, too.
When did he have it?
I'd have to look.
He was their All-Star in last year.
He had Tommy
when was the All-Star game at Dodger Stadium? Was that last year?
2 years ago.
Gonsolin was their All-Star 2 years ago at Dodger Stadium.
He had Tommy John on September 1st of last year.
So nobody has 5.
Gonsolin's not going to be there this year. Here's our guy. Buehler had Tommy John in 2022. Kershaw had shoulder surgery beginning of November. Dustin May had flexor tendon surgery.
You did not know Kershaw had surgery?
I forgot about it. I knew he signed, but I forgot he had this.
He's out.
Yeah, he's out. Then you look.
They don't have Who would be? Give me one guy who's healthy with Yamamoto. Take Yamamoto out because he's never pitched in the big leagues. Give me one guy the Dodgers have who's healthy.
Bobby Miller.
Bobby Miller.
That's
Actually, he's very talented.
And I mean, she and Pitt made some starts last year, but I'll go Bobby Miller.
So it goes back to the who's got 5. No one has 5. I got sidetracked now. What the hell was I talking about?
We were talking about Rooker.
Oh, Rooker. So here's Rooker. Has that big series, that 4-game set. There was a couple guys who had a big series. Santander had a huge series for them. There's a couple guys who had a huge series. But Rooker, that was kind of like that first month. Rooker was on fire. And it's what got him into the All-Star game because if you remember, he was voted in by the players. So the players remembered his first part of the season. So Rooker goes off. But then when you hit midsummer, Rooker wasn't great. Rooker really started to fall off. There's a lot of pressure on him. He goes to the All-Star game. Now there's expectations. Hey, we talk so much about physical, but most of this game is about mental. Everybody's got the skills. And you could see once there were expectations to, now you're going to hit in the middle of the order. When you hit in the middle of the order, you need to drive in runs. You need to hit the ball out of the ballpark. There were expectations. All of a sudden, Rooker went from no expectations, was killing it, All-Star game. Now there's expectations, and he struggled with that, but found it again at the end of the year. And that's something I can't wait to talk to him about. Also, big breakfast guy, Brent Rooker.
I remember you texted me about that in the offseason, how he's a
big breakfast guy. So we got to get into it's like a big specialty for him. He's got certain places on the road. We'll get into that. But the way he rebounded with the expectations, you think about this. He's at a point, think about Brent Rooker, and it goes back to, I got to get the car back on the road here, about Mark Kotsay at the beginning of the year talking about what this team needs to do to turn it around. He starts his speech to everybody as the manager of all 30 teams will talk to camp. And he's talking about Brent Rooker. What if Brent Rooker doesn't make the team?
Oh.
Think about that. Think about how life is about moments. All of our lives, forget these professional athletes, there's certain things in your life, there's certain moments, there's certain decisions made that are out of your control that have dramatically affect your life. What if the front office did what I wanted them to do, was keep Christian Pache? And Brent Rooker now goes back into
purgatory, pretty much.
The abyss. Who's signing him? Who's giving Brent? If David Forst and the front office do not take the shot on Brent Rooker, which turns out to be an all-star game appearance, Brent Rooker's now coming into camp where he didn't have to worry this offseason about making the team. He's on the team. Now he gets to train differently, not only physically, but also more importantly, mentally. He's not going to come out here and grip every at-bat like I'm trying to make the team. Now he can get focused on preparing himself physically and mentally for the season as an everyday player. But think about it. If the A's don't make that decision and they go with Pache, who even knows where Brent Rooker is right now?
I would say the easy answer is he'd probably be a Ray and be hitting 35 home runs. But
no, the easy answer is he's signing another minor league deal. Yep. And his career could be potentially on the way to being over.
Yeah, and we were seeing Pache hit.
Just think about that. Brent Rooker, at this point, right now in his life, if the A's did make that decision for him last year, could really be thinking about retiring and go finding another career.
Yeah, I mean, well, once we found out last year, he's very good at the media game. So, I mean, maybe he gets into that after his career's done now. But, yeah, he probably would have been in the minors. Does he want to stick around in the minors? No. Then you could tell the whole story of the A's season completely differently. The team leader in home runs, most likely that year, I think would have been Shea Langoliers, our catcher, had 20? How many? I think 23 last year, which is like the fourth Oakland catcher to ever hit 20 home runs.
He's going to hit 30 this year, by the way. That's my prediction.
Okay. I remember that because remember I said he'd be a 2020 guy, but he only stole a couple bases last year.
Well, that was your.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you need to
22 homers, 3 stolen bases. So he was only 17 off from the 20.
You need to pay off your bet.
I mean, we still haven't gone yet.
And you do not get to expense it.
Oh, but we won't need to do it here. We'll do it at home.
No. We're going to do it here.
Well, no, because we got Ray with us. I'm not paying for him. Sorry, Ray.
That's all right. Ray can get another bill. If every single year we do these bets and every year he loses, you owe me a Mexican food dinner.
Yeah.
I think Los Olivos, Steve Vucinich's favorite place, downtown Scottsdale.
That is a good place. I do love it there.
Will be a perfect spot for you to take care of me.
We won't do the bet on the 30 homers for Lane. We'll make it something more like me coming out and saying, I think the Royals are going to win the AL Central. That's not really what I'm saying. I'm saying something outlandish like that.
That's not outlandish.
Oh, that division.
Have you seen all the moves the Royals have made? The Royals have been the most active and one of the biggest spenders this offseason. Good for Kansas City.
And they resigned Bobby Wood Jr. to a huge deal. He's there forever, essentially. The rest of his career. There's opt-outs. Forgot about the opt-outs.
It's as much a we're buying out the arbitration and it's a good PR move contract. Listen, it's great. But if you look at the contract, it's basically we're going to buy out your arbitration. Then after that, we're going to allow you to opt out and become a free agent. But, hey, Kansas City's rolling with another Super Bowl. Your quarterback's invested in the baseball team. Looking, how old is Brent?
Rooker's 29.
29. So getting back to Rooker. So Brent Rooker is the example Mark Kotsay uses, right? So we all know the year that he ends up having. It just goes to show getting back to the outside noise means nothing. And it's about what happens out here on the field. Brent Rooker's life changed forever, ever last year on this field. He doesn't make the team. He doesn't have a career. Brent Rooker, if Brent Rooker couldn't make the A's last year the way the A's were assembled, there's 29 other teams. There's nobody else who was signing him, and there's no one else signing him this year, and he's making a big league club. He may toil like Stephen Piscotty. We're bringing him back, minor league deal. I mean, there could have been a possibility where Brent Rooker signs a minor league deal, people get hurt, and he gets some at-bat. Brent Rooker's career, if he doesn't make this club last year, is he's pretty much done.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's just how fragile these careers are. That's how the fragility of a professional athlete's career, right? Happens in all sports, right? I mean, the NFL, you look at it, guys get hurt, you get signed, you were on the practice squad, all of a sudden you make some plays in a game, bang, you have a career again. It's so fragile, these decisions. Can you seize the moment? And that's what Mark Kotsay said to the group. Who's the next Brent Rooker? Because guess what? It could be any of you. Nobody on planet Earth had Brent Rooker being in the All-Star game last year, but he was. It could be any of somebody's going in that clubhouse right now. In that clubhouse, somebody's going to the All-Star game. Where's the All-Star game this year?
Texas. Globe Life. Globe Life.
Wow, the Rangers.
Yeah. Was it Globe Life?
Rangers is a
field. It used to be park.
Field. Park.
I should know. I've been to that. I've been to the new ballpark.
Think about this. For a team that didn't get to have their honeymoon with the stadium because of COVID, they've had a lot, right? They got to host all the COVID playoffs and the World Series. They've now had their own World Series. They get the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah, by the way, speaking of the Rangers, real quick, who's starting for them? No DeGrom, no Scherzer.
Don't get me started.
No Malley.
We did the whole TV deal.
No Montgomery.
We told you the TV deal stuff was a big deal when we were at the winter meetings. If you didn't want to believe us, you now look at all the Boris clients that have not been signed and how many people have been like, if I could stand up here, like, we're going to keep our hands in our pockets here. The front offices in baseball, like, yeah. Where's all the money?
Yeah. I mean,
Texas Rangers won the World Series. No TV deal.
The Boris's big five guys: Chapman, Montgomery, Bellinger, Snell, and there's one other. JD Martinez, all still available.
Twins won the division, keeping their hands in their pockets. Rangers won the World Series. Oh, the money you get. They have no TV deal.
Arizona.
Keeping their hands. Seattle, who you talk about window of opportunity. And by the way, that's my Mexican food bet that he owes me, Mexican restaurant bet. This clown had you had him winning the division.
Not making the playoffs.
No, you had him winning the division. Then you step back to making the playoffs, and then I bet you they wouldn't even make the playoffs. You originally started with them winning the division.
They were close, so they only lose up by like a game. It would have been more outlandish if they lost by 10 games and they were.
Did they make the playoffs?
They did not.
Thank you.
If it was the NBA, they'd be in the play-in tournament.
Yeah, they were hockey or the NBA. They would have been in. They would have been in. But it just goes to show. Brent Rooker is a great example, and I remember how emotional that speech was when Mark Kotsay announced him as the All-Star there in the clubhouse. That was emotional. It was a great way to start this camp off, bringing up Brent Rooker, because it basically says to every man in this camp, why not you? Why not you? If Brent Rooker could do it, whose career was hanging by a thread, could be in the All-Star game, why not you? You control your own destiny when you're with the Oakland Athletics. Opportunity is here for everybody. It is the land of opportunity. You've heard us talk about it for years. The land of opportunity. And right now, these guys are better than you think. These guys are better than what everybody's talking about nationally. They are. You don't want to believe it? That's fine. Mark the tape, as they used to say in our business, of me saying this now. They will win over, what's the over 55.5?
Yes.
They will win over 55.5 games. They will be better. Sometimes you got to get your ass kicked, and that's fine. We've all been through it in sports. Sometimes you got to get your ass kicked to learn and to get better. And that's what a lot of these guys went through last year. And we're seeing the young core start to come up. Geloff has potential to be a star. My comp for him, and I'm sticking with it, is Hall of Famer Ryan Sandberg. And we heard about Ryan Sandberg, the great second baseman of the Chicago Cubs, and his battle with cancer. So good luck to him, the great Ryan Sandberg. But that is my comp for Zach Geloff. There is quality arms. There's now veteran arms in here to give you innings. There's young arms that could be potential really good players, position players. There's talent. There's athleticism. This team is going to be better, but it's on you. There's nothing holding you back. There's no excuses. I wish I could get up in front, talk in front of this team. You got no excuses. Your career is in front of you. You go out here and you play well, this front office will give you an opportunity to play. You're not blocked by anybody. You know how many excuses guys have made over I run into guys, you're at golf tournaments, oh yeah, I played in AAA, but I was blocked. You know how many guys will tell you they didn't get to the big leagues because they were blocked? Wrong organization, and a lot of it could be true also, but there's always an excuse of why somebody didn't make it, why this, why that. I get it. Some of it's valid, some of it's not. Here, not valid, whatever. Nobody is blocking you out here. If you ball out, you will get your opportunity. It's fact.
I think you're going to go, if you ball, you get the call.
You ball, that's old Deion Sanders on NFL Network on the Sunday show. If you ball, you will get the call. You come out here and crush it. You come out here and dominate. You'll make the roster. Nothing's holding you back. There's nobody. We're not going to sit here and talk about one guy. Well, he's screwed because that guy's got a 12-year contract at first. The guy at third's got an 8-year contract. The guy in center, he's got 7 years left on his deal.
There's none of that.
Who's got that?
Nobody.
Who's got it better than us?
The Chargers.
Oh, my God. What a Harbaugh. What are you doing? The Spanoses are broke. What are you doing?
Lots happened.
Lots happened since we've been on. We could go a lot of. Hey, how was your NBA All-Star game?
I didn't watch. I saw there was like 211 to 186. Or what are we doing?
Oh God!
The dunk contest is that. At least they had the 3-point shooting contest.
Did they have the dunk contest?
Yeah.
I don't even pay attention anymore.
Yeah, it's not any good. And the All-Star game's not good either.
After a while, how are you going to produce a new dunk?
Yeah, the guy that won it last year is a guy that was in the G League, and then I think he's in the G League still right now, and he won the dunk contest 2 years in a row.
Great. It's not like Dr. J or Michael Jordan going from the free throw line or Dominique.
You want to save and real quick, if you want to save the dunk contest, LeBron James has to do it before he retires. That'll be the most viewed dunk contest since we had Jordan and
why? He's not a great dunker.
But people will tune in to see LeBron.
But that's I get it. I mean, we can roll Larry Bird back out for the 3-point contest.
So he probably still shoots better than most
against Steph Curry. But I mean, at some point, it's like you need LeBron's 40,
almost 40, I think. Yeah, he'll be 40 this year. I think he's 40 on Christmas or somewhere on Christmas.
I had a conversation yesterday on the golf course here in Arizona about that. And I'm like, it still amazes me to this day the things people will say about LeBron James. And do you understand how much good this man has done? Do you understand where he's come from? What he could have been? I mean, people like whether people still want to hold that stupid decision about whether I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
Was that with Jim Gray, right? Jim Gray?
Yeah. LeBron James has done a lot to help people. And you think of some of these professional athletes and some of the dumb stuff that they do off the field. You look at what LeBron James has done, and you criticize him, especially when the Warriors were taken on and all the stuff people tried to say about him. It's just amazing to me when you talk about ripping people and you really don't know the full story. You can dislike somebody because they're on the other team, but when you just take shots at a guy, when this is a guy that's really gone out of his way to do what's right, especially for kids and education and stuff that he's done, it floors me. And when you put it that way, it's hard to argue.
Yeah, no, you're right. Everything about LeBron. I mean, I know people are now saying his whole thing is he said
good father, good husband. I mean, this is a guy who grew up with nothing, who grew up in a really tough situation, and has understood that, and wants to go out of his way with so many people, even, whether he's left Akron, left Ohio, whatever, everywhere he goes, he tries to make it a better place and to help young people. How do you hate a guy like that?
Yeah, the big thing with him now is he apparently the other day said that he's 50-50 on if he wants to have a retirement tour or just, be like Tim Duncan and just be gone. And he's like, I'm really bad at accepting gratitude and praise. And someone said, bro, you have the chosen one tattooed on your body.
Hey, if that's the worst thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in sports where you have guys doing some pretty heinous stuff off fields, off ice, off court. Yeah, that's not LeBron James. LeBron James, if he has tattooed chosen one, you look at the people LeBron James is, especially kids. Come on, man.
Yeah. So
come on.
What player? Who do you want to talk? Which pitcher do you want to talk?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm ready to keep going here for a little bit because I'm telling you, no excuses. We got to have a couple sayings this spring. Not again. No excuses. It's on you. I mean, who's going to be like, I can't wait to talk to my guy, Ryan Noda. Ryan Noda now is showing up all over the place. We're the ones doing his first interview. Now he's showing up over. I love it.
Yeah, he was all over serious.
You know what? Ryan Noda told us right here in the exact same spot I can be. Last year, no one knew who the hell he was. He was a Rule 5 pick. We took him from the Dodgers. He said right here, I can be a Gold Glove guy. I said, hell yeah, you got to believe it. I mean, Ryan Noda needs to flourish. Tyler Soderstrom's got to get his mojo back. Nick Allen's got to show some offense. We'll talk to Nicky Stickett, Nicky Pickett, Nicky Glovett.
He liked Nicky Pie Shop last month.
Nicky Pie Shop, if everybody knows, I grew up with Nick Allen's family, his mom and his aunt. I love the kid. Hernandez can swing. It's going to push him. Who's going to play third? What does Jordan Diaz have to offer?
Don't forget about the new guy we acquired too, Abraham Toro, is going to be in the mix to play
What
third.
about Brett Harris?
Yeah, Harris down in and Gonzaga kid.
What about my guy Lawrence Butler? Is this Lawrence Butler's time? Oh, sorry to hit that.
No, you're good. It's okay.
Is it
Still
Lawrence
excited.
Butler's time?
Yeah, the guy I'm most excited about
How about
Soderstrom, but
Ruiz? We finally had a player that showed up on a list that's praising. Ruiz is one of the stolen base leaders this year.
yeah, I'm surprised they had him third. I mean, because he led the American League last year. Who they had? It was Acuna, who was obviously a 40-60 guy.
And I'll give you another guy. Saw him in the clubhouse today. Because I thought last year was the year. Well, this year better be the year. That's Seth Brown. You're here. Seth Brown, you thought didn't get hurt last year. You had the potential for 30 bombs. So right now you have going in right now looking at it. You're thinking Langelier is going to, I think Langelier is going to be a 30 home run guy.
Yep. We'll hold you to that.
Let's say 20.
Well, he had 22 last year, so let's see if we can do it again.
So 20. Seth Brown, 20. Geloff, 20. Rooker, 20. I'm giving you 4 guys. I'm saying, and that's bare minimum. They got to hit 20 each. I'm giving you 80 home runs right there, bare minimum, 4 guys.
If he stays healthy, I think Noda can get to 20.
That's 5.
Who else are we forgetting?
You're blowing past the total of home runs last year.
Yeah, the biggest X factor still to me, and probably a lot of people, is I think Soderstrom. If he can figure it out, I think he's easily a 20 home run guy. He has the potential. It's just figuring it out and adjusting to the big league pitching, and that's what I think Lawrence Butler could be a 15 home run guy, not 20. But we'll aim low, but expect high.
Yeah, let's not get crazy, because what we don't want to do is set these. Hey, there's the A's cast guys. They're just being a bunch of homers. I'm talking reality.
Yeah.
55.5 as a win total is a joke. They're going to win more than that. They have to win more than that. Have some damn pride. Then you start looking at numbers, and how do you start looking at? Well, the biggest thing for me beyond, we're talking home runs, the biggest thing for me is going to be innings pitched. And we got some pitchers to talk to you about. But how are you going to get those innings? Was it 4,372 outs? What is it?
4,374, something like that. 76. We had this number forever, but
now we haven't talked about it in a while.
Yeah, so now it's 4,370 something that outs I need to get this year.
So there's 27 outs
times 162, right?
162.
74.
So not counting extra inning games, you've got to get 4,374 outs. That's all that matters. Think about that, folks. Starters, relievers, whoever you are as a pitcher, your job is to do one thing: get outs. It's not about your data. It's not about your spin rates. It's not about your rise. It's not about vertical, horizontal. It's do you get outs or not? And every team, for 162 games, you got to get 4,374 outs. How are the A's going to do that?
There's a lot of young guys too that we're expecting big. Not to put too much pressure, but expecting big things from a guy that a lot of people like Eno Saris, very high on Joe Boyle, and the way he pitched last year when he was up here, and I think Eno had him like number 2 in his like stuff plus for minor league pitchers or something like that. Number 2 behind only, I forget who number 1 was, but I could look it up. But he was number 2. That's pretty high praise for a guy that's only made a handful of starts last year for the A's, who they acquired midway through the year for Sam Moll.
Big kid. If we get if a basketball game breaks out, we're dumping it down to him low, because he's a big man.
We can take him, Muller, Mason, Miller.
Oh my God,
Waldichuk.
Our backcourt is unbelievable.
Yeah, we got some guys that can play in the paint for us. JP Sears playing point.
So what officially is Boyle? Is he 6'10"?
No, I don't think he's that big. There's
6'9".
There's a kid for St.
Muller's 6'7".
Boyle is 6'7".
Now that'd be front court. Back court would be your guards.
Looks like Sears and Nick Allen. We are our backcourt.
Backcourt, I'm not. So
Actually, point guard's a little bigger now.
Lawrence Butler could be a small forward.
Correct. Yeah.
But our front court. So what do we got? Boyle's what?
6'7".
So we got 6'7", 6'7".
And then who was the next guy? Waldachuk's pretty tall, right?
No, he's about 6'3". We got it bigger than that. I saw some guy in the elevator today. He's got to be like 6'5".
Yeah,
6'6".
Waldachuk's 6'3", right? Yeah. I'd have to look, see who else is on.
We got the Twin Towers, basically, with Boyle and with Kyle Muller. So who do we want to start out with? Because pitching is...
Mason Miller, 6'5".
That's our power forward. Yeah, we got a hoop team.
We got to ask these guys if they played basketball. Now, Boyle played college baseball at Notre Dame with the tight end from the Bears, Cole Kmet. So he's a baseball guy. But let's see if any of these guys played basketball in high school. I mean, some of these guys had to have.
All right, so...
like Emo, big basketball guy.
Who are we going to start with? I told Emo, Scott Emerson, our pitching coach, he's in great shape. I'm like, you could give me 20, 10, and 5 right now. You remember, he was like Mr. Arizona basketball back in the day.
I'd love to play a pickup basketball game with Emo. That and play pickleball with David Forrest. I mean,
I don't think you could score on Emo. He literally dwarfs you.
Yeah, he is tall, but he's older now. Maybe I have that cardio
Wow.
now that I've been working out more.
Wow.
I think I might have that cardio.
I'm going to have shots fired at Emo. Look at you. Can't guard this guy, Emo. All right, who do you want to start with?
Let's do Muller since we're talking about the big front court guys.
Kyle Muller, to me, still has a big future with the Oakland Athletics. Kyle Muller is a guy that has the type of makeup and the type of stuff I still think can be a frontline pitcher. Last year was an anomaly. He just got sidetracked. Things just went squirrely. This could be a big year for him. As much as I like adding the veterans, I know the future is the younger guys, and he's not that young.
What is he, 20? What did he say he was? He told us.
26?
26, I think. That sounds right.
I mean, 26 is the start of your prime. As a professional athlete, it's really 25. But in baseball, 26, I just want to get I want to be factually correct. Yeah, he's 26. It's his time. Let's go. So coming up next, the big lefty. We got you covered all spring training right here on A's Cast Live. We'll talk to Kyle Muller next as we get you. We get you covered. We covered it like a Snuggie.
There you go.
We covered all like a Snuggie right here on A's Cast Live.
It's almost that time again, A's fans. Spring training will be here before you know it, and the Oakland Athletics will be celebrating 10 years at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 24th, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends.
Lawrence Butler, it's a fly ball to left field that's deep. Has a chance opposite field. Home run, Lawrence Butler.
Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Ryan Noda joined Townie on A's Cast Live and talked about learning to play a new instrument this offseason.
I'm trying to get into learning the piano. It's a lot harder than I was expecting. So we're getting there. A couple more years, I think I can, maybe show some skills off.
Trying to learn the piano. I like that. A skill set as you're getting older. Yeah, the coolest thing about that is like someday you're going to be rolling in and there'll be a bunch of people and you'll be in this fancy hotel in a lobby and you can just get down and start and it'll be like one of the most impressive things. I've actually seen it happen before. Whenever the guy can roll out of nowhere and start playing piano, everybody always goes like, damn, you could be that guy.
And that actually happened when I was in AA with the Dodgers. Andre Jackson. We were in Wichita, and I was going out to get some breakfast, and all of a sudden, I just hear the piano playing in this little side room in the lobby. And I was like, "Who's playing? It actually sounds pretty good." So I walked back there, and I was like, "Andre?" I was like, "What?" I'm like, so it was pretty sweet, and that kind of enticed me a little bit. And this year, I was like, you know what? I'm having a little bit more downtime than usual. Might as well learn something.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
A's Cast Live continues from A's Spring Training. Here's Chris Townsend.
How are you? How have you been?
I'm great. Had an awesome off season. Excited to get back and see all the guys and kind of just catch up with everybody.
You talk about a busy off season. The big lefty got married.
Yes. Got married December 1st. I feel like I'm one of many of the guys in the clubhouse. We're all kind of around that age.
Yeah.
And then went on the honeymoon mid-December to St. Lucia, which was
awesome,
phenomenal. Man. And then got back and got everything ready to go for camp.
You know what's great about baseball players is that you guys can get married in the off season, which for us who are older and who've already done it, and for you guys who are younger, you need to understand it's a lot cheaper to get married in the off season than it is in the summertime when everybody wants to get married.
Right. And I don't like being hot. So summer wedding was kind of off for me. Just
in Houston
off the rip.
too, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think I could have done that. I'd been wearing a short sleeve suit and shorts, but no, it was great. The weather was perfect. I have no complaints. It was an awesome day. I'm
going to be real honest. You ready for real honesty?
Let's hear it.
I've got big expectations, and I need better of you this year than what happened last year, and I think you feel the same.
You're telling me. I mean, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah, no. Last year was just, man, it was a lot. I went through, some things delivery wise, and then, I felt like I was just trying to play catch up all year. I showed up to camp, and I honestly didn't even have the best spring training. And then kind of set the tone, had a good first outing. And then from there, I felt like every week I was trying to figure something out delivery-wise because I knew I just wasn't myself. But this offseason's been great. I got a lot of the answers I needed in terms of, my delivery. And it wasn't like I've been trying to do something that I've never done. It wasn't like I was trying to add velo or make my pitches better. It was just trying to get back to the guy that I've always been. And, I feel like I've made the right steps to get back to that person. And, obviously, last year wasn't the year I wanted to have. It wasn't the year that the organization wanted me to have. So I'm definitely looking to prove myself and show everybody that, the person they traded for is still here.
You got thrusted into the opening day start, right? It was kind of like all of a sudden, like, bam, you're the guy. That hurt or help you?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I'll never complain about that. I mean, even if I don't feel good throwing the ball, like I'm out there, I'm going to compete my ass off. I don't know if I should have said that, but
no, you're good.
I'm gonna compete. Every time they give me the ball, and regardless of how I feel. And so I love the opportunity, and the atmosphere was electric, and we ended up winning, which was even better. I think it made the fall from grace a little bit longer, going from opening day starter to then eventually going back to AAA, and that was just that was tough to deal with, just because at that point, I didn't know what was wrong. Why was I not throwing the ball well? Normally, my fastball is a pitch that I can just blow by guys, and it was getting hit pretty hard. And then, just kind of, it was tough to take a step back and diagnose the whole arsenal / delivery when every 5 days you're out there trying to compete. Because you can't be thinking about that stuff when you're on the mound.
Correct.
You got to get guys out, and it's tough when you go out there and then you go back to muscle memory, but you're trying to break the muscle memory. And then, so you're kind of in this never ending cycle, but this off season's been incredible. I figured a lot of stuff out. And I can't wait for the season to get started.
I try and tell people it's like golf, right? It's like when you're standing over a golf ball and you're thinking about how about how I take the club back? Where's my right elbow going to be? All that. And really you need to think about hitting the ball. You're playing a game. You got to make the ball go that way, but you're thinking about, I got to keep my head still. I got to turn and that's kind of where you were last year.
Yeah, no, it was tough. And that's what really sucked about it was, having that competitive nature, which I've always had, that takes over. And then at the same time, like you need to be better. So, I'm trying to do the things that I've been working on in between starts. And then
did you ever go back to old stuff because you went into survival mode?
That's what the whole season was. It was because whatever I practiced in the off season wasn't the stuff that I needed to be doing. And then when I showed up, that was like, they say trust your train, and that's what I trained all off season. And so regardless of what, tweaks I tried to make in between outings, whenever the lights came on and I took the mound, it was just go back to what you've practiced, and that was it. And that's what I was trying to break. So it was like one of those things where I'm out there and I'm not trying to practice when I'm out there. I'm trying to get outs.
Yeah.
And so that was just kind of one of those things that was a tricky thing to navigate. Obviously, practicing when you're trying to get big league hitters out isn't the best combination. So, but I'm very confident in all of the changes I've made this offseason, and I'm excited to show the staff and, prove to them myself that, the decision they made was the right one.
Yeah, because I remember when the team traded for you and you came over and we got to see you, I know immediately I saw frontline starter.
Right.
And we talked like this very spot last year about you being a frontline starter.
Right.
And I remember you said, minor leagues, I'm done with that.
Right.
And obviously, like you said, season didn't go. I still see you as that guy.
Me too.
I want you to be that. I see the frontline starter that when we're back in the postseason, you're on the mound.
Absolutely. And I feel that way too. And for me, it was kind of a lot of things going back to 2021, going up and down with Atlanta. It was, you'd go up, you think you'd pitch well, and then you get sent back down, and you're like, okay, well, I got to do something better. And so that kind of started the whole trend of tweaking. And, baseball is a game of tweaks. But I think for me, doing that again in 2022, coming into the year, I had tweaked so much that I just had gotten rid of everything that I was good at, which was being athletic, being aggressive, being competitive on the mound. And, I let, my delivery get in the way of that. And then I started doing a lot of stuff that just wasn't a natural movement. If I was fighting myself and I wasn't letting myself flow through the whole delivery. And, I guess this offseason, you could say I trimmed some of the fat on that, just getting rid of a lot of the things that I don't need to be doing and trying to simplify it as much as I can. Because it's not, like I said earlier, it's not like I'm trying to do something that I've never done before. They traded for me for a reason, and making sure that I can be the best of my ability and let my athleticism shine out on the mound is something that I really try to do this offseason. And I feel like I did a really good job of that. So I'm excited for this year.
Yeah, it's human nature to tinker.
Right.
It just is. It's like we as human beings, in anything that we do, you're always trying to figure out, how do I get better? Can I do something different? And change is not always bad, but sometimes change can take you down a rabbit hole. And it sounds like it took you down that rabbit hole. You can't. All professional athletes, and really all of us in life, we tinker with what we do at our jobs.
Right.
So it's something you're going to do. But I like to be athletic, be you, get out there and go get people out. Because too many times when I'm talking to people and I'm listening to baseball people and everybody wants to start talking about, what they're doing with horizontal and vertical and spin and all that stuff. At some point, it's like, dude, you got to get people out.
Right.
I don't care what your stuff says, what the data says, StatCast. How are you getting people out? I don't care if you throw 88 down the middle. Does it get people out?
Right. Yeah, no, that's the name of the game, is throwing strikes and getting outs. And so I think what pitchers try and do is optimize the strikes that they throw. And, like in terms of those things of vertical break, horizontal movement. And sometimes that just makes for a better pitch. So for me, like one of the things that I've always done really well is carry the fastball and have good vertical break when I throw it. And so that was gone last year, and that's why my fastball got hit so hard, because the separation between that and my other pitches was even smaller. And so that was actually one of the biggest focuses of me is getting that efficiency back, getting the vertical break on my fastball back, because then it'll create more separation between my pitches. But knowing how to use those tools and know that it's not the end all be all, just because you throw a really good fastball with good vertical break, if you throw it right down the middle, somebody hits it hard, like it's not a good pitch. So, taking that understanding that information to make sure that, your delivery is in a good spot, and then going out there and once you take the mound, you're just out there competing.
Now, I never got the advantage to pitch with size. My pitching was short guy trying to throw hard. You are a big guy, 6'7", right?
Yeah.
There is something to you utilizing your size on the mound.
Right.
Because when you're out on the mound, you look like you're 7 feet tall.
Right.
How important is that? And for you to realize, as you said, use the athleticism, but also take advantage of the size and how you're coming down on the hitter.
Yeah, and that was definitely another thing. Like, I don't know what we do, but if we looked at a side by side of last year to how I'm throwing the ball this year, the way my body was rotating was really east-west, so it was going this way. This year, it's a lot more north-south, which is, what I've always done, and I think it's better than I've ever been. And being able to do that allows me to take advantage of my size, because whenever I'm going this way, it's because I'm sinking real low and I'm stepping across and I'm moving in a bad direction. But now, since I'm just going straight up to straight down, I'm taking advantage of my size, my strength, my leverage, and letting it rip.
Would you say getting married, doing the honeymoon, kind of gives you a breather? Because I know in the off season you're thinking every moment, how do I get better? Does it allow you just to like let go a little bit and just kind of relax and be you?
Yeah, no, it was interesting because I'm so routine oriented in the off season. So when it was, hey, we're going to take 10 days off and go on a beach, and you're not going to be able to throw, or you're not going to be able to train or whatever, that took a little bit to come to grips with, just because I was like, well, if I miss 10 days, but I had the best time. And my wife, she's fantastic, so she really helped me with being able to let go and just relax and enjoy the time there. And so, yeah, I definitely think that was nice, and it reinvigorated the training fire when I got back, because I knew I had missed 10 days. And so, yeah, no, it was definitely a good space to clear your head. You're not thinking about anything else other than just having a good time and drinking pina coladas on the beach.
Yeah, you got to clear your head.
Yeah.
Once again, that whole tinkering, and you're always thinking, sometimes it's good just to let it go.
Right. And then with that too, understanding, the things I needed to do to change, and having those answers and seeing results while I'm working on them, that clears your head as well. Because at first it was like, no matter what I tried, nothing was getting any better. So then I was like, okay, and then you keep spiraling, you keep tinkering. But once I figured out, okay, it was these two moves to working north south and keeping my upper body in line longer. It was, my vert came back, my changeup's better, my curveball's sharper, my slider's moving better. It all just cleaned up like that. And it was like kind of an aha moment of like, okay, these are the things I need to do. This is the only thing I'm focusing on. There's nothing else. And just being able to do the same drills over and over and over again, instead of, this week I'm going to do this drill, this week I'm going to do this drill. I was doing the exact same thing every day from the end of the season until I got here. And so I'm going to keep doing it until, this season's over.
Every moment you're on the mound, every drill, everything you do, all with the purpose of you being in this rotation this year.
100%.
There's nothing else to think about. Like, to me, once again, I have the belief that you are a frontline guy for us for many years to come.
I appreciate that.
But
I do too.
You got to think it. You got to believe it. You got to own it. And I think this spring, as big as last year's spring, this spring training, man, what a great opportunity this is for you.
I completely agree. And, the coaching staff's been great in terms of being in communication in the off season and talking about, what changes I've made and being accepting of them, and trying to learn as much as they can about some of the things that I've been doing. So I'm excited to kind of get into camp, get into the swing of things, start facing some hitters, and then, see where we go from there.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. It's going to be a big spring. And yeah, just remember who you are. You're big, you're athletic. Let it rip, man.
I love it.
The rest of us weren't born with you, what you got. You got what we all wanted.
I love it. Well, I appreciate that.
You got the stuff to go out and dominate. So, hey, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. And like I always say, man, I want to be doing this with you for years to come.
You as well.
I'm high on him. Still am. And I remember a conversation with Scott Emerson when talking about pitchers and their build. And there was this generation of pitchers, and really was brought on by like Tom Seaver, the drop and drive. To really utilize your back right leg. If you're a right-hander, for a left-hander, be your left leg. But the drop where you come down on that right leg and push off. Of course, Nolan Ryan really started doing it because remember, Nolan Ryan played with.
Wait, say that again. Sorry, I'm focusing on camera stuff. That's my bad, but.
Are you saying the look of the show is more important than the content?
I think they're equally the same.
Wow. No,
Nolan Ryan played with
Tom Seaver.
Oh yeah,
with the Mets.
Yeah, weren't they drafted the same? Seaver drafted the same year as Nolan?
So
65?
that's the whole. Tom Seaver was the king of drop and drive and power pitching, and that for generations did that. Well, when you're really a tall guy like Kyle Muller at 6'7", you're not going to be a big drop and drive guy. You're going to more fall down the mound. So it's don't play smaller, play big. You want to play big as a big man. You don't want to play small. You want to play in all sports. You don't want to play smaller as a guy in basketball. You want to utilize your size, right? You utilize your size as an advantage. So Kyle Muller, as he showed you in the video, and if you're just listening on AceCast, it's just twisting your shoulders side to side versus coming down them. You got to envision, if you're just listening on AceCast, you have to envision that the mound is a mountain and you're coming down the mountain. That's when he's talking about north-south, when you're coming straight down and you're bringing all of your momentum and you're coming straight down. Think about it as a hitter. You can just close your eyes and just picture a guy who's 6'7" on the mound. Well, the mound is how many feet up? Now goes from 6'7" to like 6'10", 7 feet. And he's coming down, boring down on you. The Rangers GM Chris Young did not throw very hard, but he was 6'10", former Princeton basketball player. Chris Young was 6'10". He only threw about 88 to 90, but he was so hard to hit because his fastball, the way it came boring down on a hitter, it was tough to barrel. That's what Kyle Muller needs to be. Utilize that size. It's big for you. And I think he can be that guy. We need him to be that guy. We need all these young guys to start to flourish.
A lot of the guys all the guys are young, and Muller's a big guy. He was the opening day starter last year, and a lot of people probably don't remember that he was the opening day starter last year. And we know we're banking on 30 starts from JP Sears, which he did it last year. We're hoping to do it again. Blackburn hopefully stays healthy for the whole year. You got that, but then it's a lot of unknowns with the younger guys. Luis Medina, Ken Waldichuk when he comes back from his injury, Muller, Boyle, Estes. There's so many young guys. Mitch Spence, is he a starter reliever? There's a lot of unknowns, but it's an exciting time if you're a fan because these guys, hopefully they develop into serviceable starting pitchers because the organization does a good job of developing those guys and making them good major league starters. So hopefully Muller, after a rough first year, full season in the majors going up and down, figures it out, bounces back, and is a guy we're talking about as well. What a turnaround for Kyle Muller. We can say maybe it's because he got married. There's so many different things it could be, but this offseason, we'll find out in a few days when the season starts. The first spring training games on Saturday against Colorado. What changes a lot of these guys have made in the offseason?
Yeah, the getting away from baseball, being married, relaxing a little bit, and also starting to realize you grow up, right? You start to grow up. It's not just all about you. You now have a wife. Whether they're living together or not, I don't know, but all of a sudden, maybe they've purchased a house together. You start thinking, your priorities start to change, right? And, things start to speed up. It's about now. Like, I'm a professional athlete. I got to make it happen now. Soon, you're going to want to probably start a family, have kids. I mean, it matures you. He's 26 years old. The time's now. And The young guys, that's what really needs to happen. As much as we've enjoyed, and we'll talk to the veterans about them coming and hopefully giving innings, but ideally, the young guys maturing and becoming legit players. Legit guys coming through your system, controllable. And they come up and you teach them how to pitch, and they learn how to pitch under you, and they become legit players. That stuff can be really exciting. And we need to hear from another one. Coming up next, Joey Estes.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll do Joey.
Joey Estes is a kid with a ton of potential.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, he's got stuff.
Looked good when he came up last year in the limited time we saw him. Small sample size, as they say.
He's got stuff. And he excites me. He excites me like the bravado. He's got the confidence. He's got the stuff. He's young, fearless. And that's why I laugh when you try and say, hey, these are the starting 5 for the A's. And you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Some of these young kids, they come out and throw the ball lights out. I don't know. I don't know how you deny them. Like if Joey Estes comes out and he's lights out this spring, how do you send him back to Vegas?
Yeah, I don't think you do, but I guess
it'd be a great problem to have.
For sure. I mean, because like you said, we're not going to have 5 starting pitchers all year. There's going to be at least, you said 15? 15.
But ideally is you want to find a core of 3 or 4 that these are the guys taking the majority of the starts for you.
Correct, yes.
Young guys that are able to do that and stay healthy. And, because you established that with one guy last year in JP Sears. JP Sears gave you 32 starts, which is a big deal. I can't wait to talk to JP Sears. And now that he's had time to reflect on that. I mean, JP Sears was a guy that, is he a starter? Is he going to be a long man? Is he going to be that role type guy that can start, come in later in games? I mean, man, he made 32 starts last year. That's a big deal in baseball these days because most teams don't have a guy that went 30 starts.
Correct. Yes. Look at the Dodgers.
So once again, if you take a couple of young guys, you take three or 4 of them, now you start having a real core for a starting staff. So coming up next, right-hander Joey Estes right here on A's Cast.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by this stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.
Hey, it's Eno Saris, your friendly neighborhood baseball scribe. There are 2 things I love, baseball and beer. When I'm not busy around the ballpark, you'll likely catch me back with a cold one at any of Fieldwork Brewing's 8 locations sprinkled across the Bay Area. Fieldwork's got a rotating lineup of over 20 beers on tap that's as diverse as any 26-man roster. They got everything from super juicy, hazy IPAs to crisp pilsners and tropical sours that make your taste buds do the wave. Whether you're all about that draft life or prefer to grab some cans to go, Fieldwork's got your bases covered. Check them out at fieldworkbrewing.com to learn more. That's fieldworkbrewing.com.
A's general manager David Forst was on A's Cast Live during the winter meetings and explained why the team was moving Mason Miller to the bullpen.
Mason's tried starting now over 3 years, minor league, big leagues, keeps coming up with something, and we're going to try the pen. And to Mason's credit, he's open to whatever. He's obviously a little disappointed. I think everybody wants to be a starter when it comes down to it. But I mean, he, obviously, like you said, with his stuff, he could have a really impressive career in the bullpen. But we told him this is not permanent. Like, go out there, let's try and keep you healthy for a year. That's got to be the first step. That way you help yourself, you help the team, and then we can reevaluate.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Ever since we got Xfinity, we have Wi-Fi all over the house, even in my hiding spots.
Ha! Found you.
How?
That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Now through March 21st, get started with 200 megabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
If you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see our friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
A's Cast Live continues from A's Spring Training. Here's Chris Townsend.
Great to have you on the program, really for the first time with me. We know you've been on A's Cast Live before with Vince Cotroneo, but how are you? It's great to see you.
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, this is, I got to think, coming into this spring has got to be electric for you, right?
Yeah.
You got your taste. You got your taste at the Carrot last year at the big league level. Tell us what the offseason was like for you.
Offseason was good. It was just about grinding and trying to, make that next step for me. And that's to make this team and go out and help whatever way I can and hope win some ball games. That's what it was about.
Now, obviously, you showed us in your start that you got some really good stuff. What was it like getting that opportunity to be at the big league ballpark, to play against big league guys, and to show at an early age that, yeah, I can compete right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a dream of mine since I was a kid. Like, I've been ready for this moment my whole life. Now it's just about me going out there and just having fun with it. And that's all it is to me. It's just trying to have as much fun as I can with this game and bring the best of my ability to the table.
I always think it's so great to bring guys up at the end of the year to give you that taste, to give you that little something for the offseason. Because obviously, as young professional athletes, you're going to train as hard as you can to get to, like, as you said, you've dreamt about this your entire life.
Yeah.
But to me, there's a little something now that you've been here. Now that you've gotten, as I say, the taste of it, the workouts maybe go a little longer, maybe go a little harder. Am I right on that there was a little more incentives now that you've actually experienced it?
Definitely. There's a big difference. Like, at the end of the year, I didn't know I was getting the call or anything.
Yeah.
Like, not that I was like getting ready to pack my stuff at the end, but like I was in AAA last week of season, and like I was pretty much getting ready to go home after that week. And then next thing you know, I get that call, and then it's like I'm there, and it's just a crazy experience. And now that I got that taste, it's just I don't know really how to explain it, but it's just that drive that I don't know, like that. It's a different off season than what I would have had previous. You know what I mean?
Well, I totally understand what you mean, because it's your dream. You now know what it's like. You didn't fully get it, though.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of it.
Yeah.
It makes you want more. It makes you more hungry. And that's why I think it's so important that guys get that opportunity. You got that opportunity. Now you're coming into spring training. I don't care what anybody says. I think you have as good a chance to make it as anybody. I know we all like to project what a starting five is. To me, there's no such thing as a starting five anymore, because the average team is going to use about 13 to 14 pitchers throughout a season. So what's your mindset coming into this camp?
Just being able to control what I can control. Like, it'll be nice to make the team, obviously, but like I can only control what I can control. I'm gonna go out there and give it my all on everything I got. So that's just my mindset on things. And if it happens, it happens. And then if not, then I just got to work harder.
When you go into an off season, everybody evaluates their strengths, their weaknesses. I know we have meetings with you guys to talk about what you need to work on. So when you look at, let's start with your strength. How do you work on your strengths? How do you make yourself better at what you really do well in an off season?
Yeah. I mean, for example, everybody's got a fastball. Like if I want to just like make my fastball better, just consistently work on my fastball. Like it's just something that I need to just whatever my focus points are, then that's something that I'm going to really deep dive into and focus hard on. And in the off season, I really focused a lot on my off speed, and that was just something that I focused on this off season.
So would you? I'm not gonna say that's a weakness, but that was the priority. Was off.
Yeah, this off season that was my priority for sure. That was just one of my things that I wanted to focus on going into that off season was getting more of a swing and miss pitch, something that I could spin a little bit better, maybe add a pitch. But yeah.
What was the number one thing you worked on off speed wise?
Probably my sweeper, a little bit of my slider. But yeah, just being consistent with my fastball a little bit better. I mean, all things that everybody pretty much works on, but those were my focus points for sure.
Grip wise, how much because us older pitchers, I'm way older than you, and going back to my days pitching in college, we basically looked at a sweeper as a slurve, right? It was in between what you would call more like a frisbee pitch. If you didn't have the 12-6 curveball, or if you didn't have that tight dot slider, you threw this big slurve, right? Now it's called a sweeper. It is a little different because it is more vertical.
Horizontal.
More horizontal, vertical, up, down, more horizontal than the old school, big old kind of slider.
Yeah.
So grip wise, how much different is your sweeper than your slider?
My fingers are just kind of spaced out. There's I'm sure a lot of people know it's a pitch called the whirly. If I had a baseball, I'd be able to show you, but it's like a 2-seam grip, and essentially
this is for your sweeper.
Yeah. And essentially you're just trying to just almost kind of get around it a little bit. But I mean, talking about the slurve, I threw that in high school, so like it was just like
we all throw it at some point.
That's what that's what I'm saying. It's like it's just funny because that's literally what we used to call it back in the day was a slurve, and then now it's kind of transitioning into a sweeper. But they're different movements for sure, different profiles.
So to me, when the sweeper, the data started tracking the sweeper, and as you mentioned, it's really a horizontal pitch.
Yeah.
That always kind of scared me because that's the ball that when things flatten out, as we all know, when you flatten out a slider, it's the ball that goes the furthest over the. It's the one that they, when they say a guy hits at 470, usually it's a hanging slider.
Yeah.
Now you're intentionally trying to flatten out a pitch. What was that like for you when you first started throwing it? Was there any hesitation? Any man, if I leave this right over the plate, I mean, this is it's batting practice.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's essentially for me with any pitch, you know what I mean? Like, if I mean, just with the sweeper in general, when you get off of a hill, like it's gonna have some depth to it. I mean, it's gonna be more horizontal than anything, but like just getting off of a hill, like you're gonna have just naturally you're gonna get depth to it. But like if I'm on a flat ground, like just doing like just nice easy catch play, then you'll see like where it's literally like a frisbee where it's just like straight across, so just nothing but horizontal. But as soon as you get on the mound, like yesterday through live, like I was throwing my sweepers, and instead of them moving like this, their profiles were moving like this. So even though it might have no vert, you're still gonna get vert technically, like with it, dropping just a little by getting off of a hill.
When is the point, or do you hit that point where you go, I got it?
Like with my pitch?
Yeah.
That's all. Everybody's different, but I mean, for me, it was more of like as soon as you feel that comfortability and you're able to like throw it without having that thought in the back of your head, like I hope this doesn't get hit type of thing. Then I feel like it's like, okay, now I could be dominant with this pitch. I could throw this pitch for strikes. I could strike people out with this, like, and then it just turns into a confidence thing.
What's so different about hitting and pitching is that hitters can take a million hacks in the offseason.
Yep.
Right? They can get in the cage every day. They can have the tee. They can do soft toss. They can do all kinds of training that you can only throw so much.
Yes.
So to the fans, when it's not all about, developing your pitch or refining pitches, working on pitches, what do you do to strengthen yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you just have a arm care like program, like a throwing routine. Like you just go out there and be consistent, and just build up and just get to the point where like your arm just feels good every day, and like we do this for a living, so we're out there throwing every single day and we're getting our arm built up and working on our pitches every day. So
and a lot of lower body.
yeah, absolutely. We do drills all the time where we like hold like a 3D strap to our legs, and we'll work on getting in our legs a little bit better. But yeah.
Yeah, I know you guys will work the hell out of your leg. A lot of running. Let me tell you, there's a lot of running going on with your pitcher.
We do run a lot. We do run a lot for sure.
Well, let's end on this. I love how you said control the controllables. You know, it's all about what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if that does not happen for you, you do know if you go back to Las Vegas, lives in Vegas anyway, but if you go back to Vegas, you know there's a shot. There's a big shot for you next season. That's got to feel that in the back of your mind. That's got to feel pretty good. Yeah. Or I should say this season. There's a good shot for you this season.
I was just about to say that. Like I feel like I have a great shot like this season. Just to even. I got a lot to prove. Like I just want to go out there and be able to contribute whatever I can. And if I go to AAA, then I'm gonna go and contribute the best that I can to AAA. And then if I get the call to the big leagues, great. Then I'm gonna do whatever I can to win ball games here.
But there's a legit chance you make this team out of spring.
For sure. Yeah, that's the goal. I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Well, hey, great to have you on. And you know what?
Sir.
We want to have you on a lot for years to come. So good luck the rest of the spring.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like that kid.
He's got big game moxie written all over him.
I was impressed with him when he came up last year. I mean, I know Vince did his first interview as he talked about, but for Ace Total Access, but I liked what he showed, and I think he could be a guy that could be a big part of the staff going forward. I mean, he's young, came over in the Olsen trade, right? Was it Olsen? Yeah, with Langolier, so I think he could be a big part. I mean, maybe that trade starts looking better and better if he can become a more serviceable starting pitcher and start out the year in Oakland. Not a lot of people are expecting
I don't know
that.
if the trade's ever going to work.
Well, I mean, you can make it look a little better because one guy's already gone. So.
Let's be honest. But, yeah, you got to get something out of it, right?
Exactly.
And you needed to get multiple things out of it. But you move on, right? I mean, it's just you move on. And right now, where I am today, Matt Olson's gone.
Yeah.
Right? I need to find players today to win today. And this kid has got big game moxie written all over him. And if he can be that guy, you find, once again, 3 or 4 of these guys, and you got a bunch of them in that clubhouse right now who are all fighting for it, you find that's how you turn things around. That's how you see teams go from being like the Baltimore Orioles, who are getting their ass handed to them year after year after year. All of a sudden, wham, they're now the best team in their division. Is Kansas City going to be that team in the Central, right? How do the D-backs? I mean, it's going to be tough for anybody in the West to overtake the Dodgers in 162 games. But the Dodgers are as vulnerable as anybody in a series.
Correct, they are.
Right?
We saw it last year with Arizona in the playoffs.
Right. So it's for the A's, for us to turn it around, because we don't know what Texas is going to look like long term.
A lot of injuries right now, and Young now is hurt.
And I'm not even going over the roster.
Yeah.
You think there is this economic boom with a World Series, right? That's what we're told. But it's amazing how Texas has a window to repeat, right? Remember what their owners were saying and how their off season has gone is 2 different things, right? And a lot of the owners are saying the same thing. The TV, it's very fragile right now. And it's very obvious that the Texas Rangers and no TV deal has meant no big spending. Well, what about all the money they made in the postseason? I don't know their financials. I just know this. they're not going all in after winning the World Series.
Yeah.
And it's because of their TV contract. Houston. How long does Houston keep it going?
A lot of people think this is the last good year they're going to have, and I'm like, I don't believe that, but because a lot of people are worried about Bregman and what's going to happen after this year. But I still think they have a couple years left. Houston, at least. I mean, there's so many guys on the team that, Altuve just resigned. You got Yordan Alvarez, Tucker. Their pitching rotation is pretty good. Their bullpen's really solid. Now they have Hader. I still think they have a couple years left. Although someone put Joe Espada on the hot seat.
Hader and Presley.
And people love Brian Abreu too.
Yeah.
So they got 3 guys, but I think it was our buddy Will Leach from MLB.com to managers on the hot seat. He had Joe Espada on the hot seat. He just got the job. How's he on the hot seat?
Got to win. Yeah.
Who's on? Aaron Boone was on there.
Well, I'll tell you what, Aaron Boone's been on there. Booney, keep doing what you do. I love Aaron Boone.
John Schneider.
Does anybody remember us at the winter meetings rooting on Aaron Boone? And he's giving us a thumbs up. The guy's got the hardest job in the world. God, I just really have this big scratch on my arm. Let's be honest. If things don't go well in Houston right out of the gate, you don't think they could fire Espada with the talent and the expectations of Jim Crane?
I just don't think that they're going to. I mean, then again,
knowing what I've learned from Dave Stewart about Jim Crane, you sure about that? You sure that if they don't perform and they think they've got the talent and this is still their window, you don't think that you think he has some crazy deal they can't get out of?
No, but I just think it's, I mean, the Astros struggled for a little bit last year and there was no talk of firing Dusty.
Yeah, because it's Dusty Baker.
True, but I don't know. It's just
You think there's a long leash with Joe Espada?
I think they'll give him at least 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you're crazy.
I mean,
you're crazy. They've got to win now. He's proven nothing. Yeah, he's been their guy. But if things start to go, let's say they go San Diego Padre-ish, like last year, right? It's going to turn around. The only reason why Melvin, because of his track record, most teams would have got rid of Melvin with the fact most teams would have got rid of the manager at a point in that season because it just wasn't going right. Because it was Bob Melvin, they didn't.
Well, let's be
so if the Astros go Padre-ish, like last year, where we're gonna wait another month. We're gonna another month and another month and another. You think they would go a season where they stumble to around 500 and this guy keeps his job?
I just don't think he's going to get fired. But speaking of the Padres, most teams, if they're
I don't think they'll play that bad.
No.
But if they did, I'm backing my guy Will Leach here. You think if they sputtered throughout the entire year that this guy's lock solid job?
Depends on what his contract is. You think Jim Crane wants to pay out a guy after?
Dude, they're paying him probably under $2 million.
You're probably right.
They're paying him nothing.
But you said the normal situation of the Padres, you were the manager. Well, the general manager doesn't get to hire 7 managers in his span either if the team's after.
And you know what I've learned? I mean, Stu's been pretty connected with the Astros. I think everybody there could be replaced immediately. No, there is no right now loyalty in Houston to anybody, whether it's front office or coaching staff. Nobody has loyalty. Jim Crane is not loyal. This group, what it is right now, there's no loyalty. He could replace any of them like that.
The only guy he's loyal to right now is Jose Altuve because he got the extension again. That's really about it.
I mean, Brantley's going to be up. And
Brantley's gone.
I mean, not Brantley.
Bregman. He's a free agent after this year.
But front office, he's not paying any of these guys any. If guys you think a $2 million a year deal means something to Jim Crane?
Probably not, but
no.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be like the NBA where they hired the Bucks hired a guy and they fired him halfway through the year this year. First year.
Espada could be gone by the All-Star break if they're under 500.
I just don't see it.
Why? What do you think there's this unbelievable loyalty to this guy?
There's not, but like what are they going to bring in another one of their own guys to take over?
They just went to super veteran guy and won. Now you're going to unproven guy who's been in your organization, who is interviewed with a bunch of different teams and no one's hired him.
Yeah, fair. Then again, they went with the super young and experienced. No, he did manage one. Well, they had AJ Hinch. that he managed before he won the Houston job.
Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked by some of these teams making quick moves. Especially, I mean, a veteran-laden team that's got – Houston has to view itself, it's win now. You'll give me that.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not like, let's let this guy figure it out. That's why that's why I'm saying if it goes Padre-ish. And then the Mariners aren't spending.
No. There was a rumor this weekend. They have entertained – our guy Ryan Divish put it out there. Mariners have entertained the idea of signing Matt Chapman. I don't know if they'll be able to afford what he wants.
Where's all the Chapman lovers? Where's that $200 million contract he was going to get? Matt Chapman's so great. Oh, my God. The A's lowballed him at $150 million. How could they do that? Oh, my God, Matt Chapman. Look at the A's. Yeah. Where's all that money now for Chapman? Free agent. Anyone can have him. 30 teams. If you guys were all so right out there, why doesn't Matt Chapman have a $150 million contract in his hand right now?
You're not wrong. And you know what I keep hearing about him? He's the opposite of Cody Bellinger. He hits the ball hard. Okay, then why did Bellinger have such a great year then?
Okay, that is garbage. Yes, he had the best barrel rate. After the first month where he hit 372, he hit 206 after that. Yeah. There were months he hit under 200. Matt Chapman was brutal. After the first month, Matt Chapman for the entire season hit 206. So he never hit. But if he did run into it every once in a while, yes, he did hit it hard. That barrel rate thing was ridiculous.
Yes.
And smart people called it out, going, well, yeah, it's a great barrel rate, but he's hitting 206 for 5 months. If he's so great and we were so wrong and so cheap, where's the money for him right now? 30 teams can sign him. Why doesn't he have a contract? Spring training game starts Saturday.
Yeah.
You don't think Matt Chapman's sweating it right now?
I think all Boris's guys are.
But you don't think, yeah, but if I'm Snell, I know I'm going to get paid.
Yeah.
Montgomery, I'm going to get paid.
Bellinger, maybe.
Bellinger is overpricing himself, but he's going to get paid.
And then JD Martinez, but a team will want his veteran.
He's already been paid.
Yeah. Multiple times.
Yeah. You're Matt Chapman. If I'm Matt Chapman, I'm about to be 30. I've been waiting for this mega deal that's been promised to me for years. I still don't have it. Is Chapman 29 or is he 30 now?
He might be 30.
Think about that. Matt Chapman's been promised this huge contract all this time. This is finally free agency. The Blue Jays had him for 2 years. He'll be 31.
He'll be 31 in April.
Oh my God. 31. You guys all had him. You said we were all wrong. Matt Chapman's going to be the greatest third baseman. You got to pay him. What are the A's doing? And he's 31 years old.
He's going to be 31. So give him some credit.
He's going to be 31, and he doesn't have the mega deal. And spring training game starts Saturday.
Do you think Boris is still going to go, well, over in Asia and Japan? And you remember when we asked him about
I love Matt Chapman as a guy, as a hard-nosed player. I hope he gets it. But if he doesn't get it, a lot of people around here has got some crow to eat.
Oh, for sure.
Especially because what did Deion say? We're going to start being like Deion Sanders. We're taking receipts.
Yeah. Well, that didn't really work out well for Deion.
Probably won't work out well for us either.
Yeah.
But we're taking receipts. Well, we got Matt Chapman receipts.
Yeah, there's plenty. So
because I remember being on this show, this guy going, I don't see. You gave him $150 million. I'm glad we didn't give him $150 million. Guy barely hits 200. The only year he hit a ton of bombs was in the juice ball year.
Yeah,
19. Where you guys all said he was going to be so great. So the question is, as my man Brad Pitt said, Moneyball, if he's such a great hitter, why doesn't he hit? If he's such a great player, where's that big contract?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, coming up next, he's one of the best stories in baseball. Local guy, done well. He's achieved and he's conquered so much. A lot has been off the field. We've already done that with him. We're going to talk about his offseason, now growing into a pitcher from once being a position player, and a guy who's going to play a critical part in the bullpen. Lucas Erceg joins us next right here on A's Cast Live.
It's almost that time again, A's fans. Spring training will be here before you know it, and the Oakland Athletics will be celebrating 10 years at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 24th, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends.
Lawrence Butler, it's a fly ball to left field that's deep. Has a chance opposite field. Home run, Lawrence Butler.
Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop at Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Streaming from A's Spring Training, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Lucas Erceg, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. Enjoying another beautiful morning out here in Ho-Ho-Cam.
Now, I'll ask a lot of people, like, what they do in the offseason. I kind of know what you did in the offseason because you and I did an event this offseason.
That's right. Yeah.
The Santa Clara County Baseball Banquet honored you as the Bay Area Major League Pitcher of the Year. I know Nico Horner from the Cubs got it for the position player. You got it for being the hometown kid.
Yeah.
Having a good year. What did that mean to you?
I mean, super special. I couldn't imagine in 100 years that, I'd be back at something like that. I remember going to it, I think we saw on the in the pamphlet in 2017. I couldn't remember exactly what year, but never in 100 years would I've imagined ever being back there, being honored there. I mean, it was just really cool to, baseball is a small world, and for me specifically, it came full circle. Growing up in the Bay Area and growing up an A's fan, it was just I don't know. It was a lot of emotions up there while I gave my speech, just thanking all of my friends and family and coaching staff, my agency, and just feeling so relieved in terms of all that hard work that I put in. It finally I finally got something out of it, and although I get something out of it every day, that's the status quo. But it was just it was a really cool experience.
A wild ride.
Yeah.
You've had a wild ride.
Yeah.
Was there a point this offseason where you're able to kind of take a breath and go, wow?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, every morning. Like I said, I'm back here, and the offseason kind of flew by, and I still can't believe what happened last year, and it kind of drove me this offseason to really focus on the little things and make sure that I'm putting myself in the right position to succeed every single day. And being consistent is probably the most important part of my improvement, or what I was trying to improve on. And it's going to be an exciting year.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to your journey as a person, as a player, and I try to remind people if there was a couple outings where you struggled, and some fans would call him the post-game show. I'm like, he's still learning how to do what he's doing. It's not like this guy has been pitching professionally. I mean, it wasn't that long ago he was trying to hit bombs in AAA. I mean, you're still learning. So, what's interesting about this year is now you got more of an idea. Like every single outing, every single time you do it, you get to know how to do it a little bit better. So last year was kind of like, you were trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
This year, you know more of the fight you're getting into.
100%. And I think the biggest thing I learned last year was learning how to separate each outing into its own individual folder, or whatever you want to, put this outing in this one and this one and this one, whether it was good or bad. They all had to separate from themselves, because they're not all the outings are going to have the same situation, the same batters that you're facing. It was hard to understand at first, but I think the more I kind of just focused on keeping the outings separated and focusing on the present one, I allowed myself to just be present in that moment and not kind of have those worries in the back of my mind. Well, my two seam isn't. I'm not locating my two seam well enough. It keeps moving. I'm throwing it arm side, arm side, arm side. I can't. I can't throw it anymore. Well, it's you're definitely going to have your ups and downs, and I think that's part of the game. It's just a matter of being present and focusing on the next pitch.
And the thing that you learned is the better you play, the more high leverage situations you start get put into. So now you got that under your belt, right? So now you've been able to be in those situations where you're coming in, where you're trying to win the game. You're just not coming in to fill innings. You're coming in to win the game.
100%. Yeah. If that's the job they have for me, then it's the job I'm gonna do my best to succeed at. The situation obviously changes, but for the most part, it's all the same. You're just throwing the ball over the plate and doing it with intent and being a dog up there, and that's the most important thing.
Take us through the difference of something happens, doesn't go your way, and you got to move on. Because I've always looked at relievers like cornerbacks in the NFL. You're going to get burnt in the NFL. You're going to get hit as a pitcher in big league baseball, but you got to be ready to step up the next day. Well, you've experienced it as a hitter and as a pitcher. Which one's easier to bounce back from, like an 0 for 4 with 3 Ks, go get them the next day? Or is it a pitcher, you gave up some runs, you're coming to the yard the next day, you got to get people out. Which one do you think has been easier for you to rebound from, hitter or pitcher?
I'd say bouncing back from outings as a pitcher would be easier to kind of overcome because you're not going out there every single day. I also think when I was a hitter, I developed, but I was still young and I was still kind of stubborn in my ways. I didn't focus on the process and understand that. So I would get myself in trouble as a hitter, bringing those 0 for 4 days into the next game. Whereas, it's a little bit more difficult to kind of look up at the scoreboard and know that you gave up a couple of runs the night before, a couple nights before, but I think it's a little bit easier to bounce back being a pitcher because, like I said, it's easier to separate the outings. As far as I kind of learned from. So, yeah.
How much, from a pitching standpoint, you being a former hitter, does that help you get hitters out?
Yeah. No, it definitely goes both ways. I think when I first started pitching again, I didn't remember it being as hard as it was.
Yeah, because you were young, it just blew everybody away.
Yeah, throw it hard over the plate, and you could easily find some success. But when I started pitching again, I was like, man, these guys are taking good pitches. I don't know, how are they doing that? Because even when I remembered when I was a hitter, when I took really good pitches, it wasn't because I was like that locked in. It was because I was either late to get to my spot, or he just beat me and it so happened to be a ball. So it's kind of it was kind of a learning curve for me because I wanted to make sure that when I was pitching, I lost the train of thought. What was the question again?
How being a former hitter, you're a pitcher now, how that makes you better because you were a former.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. So
your former hitting helps your pitching.
Right. So I had to keep it simple as a pitcher and not kind of think while I was on the mound, like, okay, maybe if I throw him 2 fastballs here, he's probably going to guess that I'm throwing something else besides a fastball. So then I end up throwing a changeup, but the scouting report says that hitter can't really hit fastballs up and in. So I'm kind of going away from the scouting report and doing that kind of guessing game that I did as a hitter. So in ways it kind of got in the way, but the more outings I have under my belt and the more I kind of just experience, on the daily, what hitters do, and how to read hitters in the midst of an at bat goes a long way. So at the end of the day, I just try and follow the scouting report and kind of work with my catchers to see if there's anything that we can see throughout the at bat that we can kind of take advantage of.
What excites you going into this spring?
Just being around these guys, man. There's a lot of young talent, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a veteran by any means, because I'm not, but I definitely,
age-wise you are.
Well, yeah,
You've been around.
Yeah, I've been around a little bit.
You have a tale to tell.
Yeah, I've been around pro ball a lot, but it's just really it's really refreshing to be around the guys again and really see the excitement that we all collectively have. When spring training games start up, everyone's excited, and I think everyone's excited to prove a point that last year was not what's gonna entail this year to be. You know what I mean? Like we're coming out with a little bit of a FU, and I can feel that already in the clubhouse.
I love it,
and
I love
we're
it.
excited.
We can't do that again.
I don't see it.
And what's great about talking to you about this, because you being a Bay Area guy, you understand all the outside noise. A lot of these guys, they're not, obviously the whole thing with moving and the relocation and all that kind of stuff. To a lot of the guys, they don't know. They're here to win a job. But you understand all the noise and everything that's going on. And because of all that noise, people don't realize there's talent in there. There's real talent in there. You've seen it. Talk about what you've seen.
Yeah, I remember watching a documentary on HBO a couple of years ago called "The Battered Bastards of Baseball." I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Yes, you are.
Okay, but I remember watching that documentary. It was just a bunch of, I'm not going to call these guys, just random guys, but in a sense, that's what it feels like the baseball world is painting us as.
Correct.
And I mean, if you go watch that documentary, it's a bunch of guys that, didn't really care for all the theatrics and all the this and this. It was truly just about going out there and having that camaraderie with your teammates and having fun doing something that you want to do, and that's play baseball. I see it a lot throughout this clubhouse, and like I said, the energy in there is it gives me chills just thinking about it. You know what I mean? Because I can tell every single person in that clubhouse is ready to show the world that we're not the same team that we were last year.
Ross Stripling said it, I think it was 2 days ago, I think he said it, where he goes, it reminds him when he was in the Blue Jays clubhouse years ago, and it's a young Bichette, and Guerrero, and Biggio. He goes, this reminds me of that. So it's kind of like there's going to be a lot of the outside noise about stuff that has nothing to do with actually playing baseball on the field, and that's fine, because it's like I'm not going to be shocked if you guys come out and really actually shock. I won't be shocked if you shock the baseball world this year and win a lot more games than people think.
100%. Yeah, I think we all hold each other to a high standard, and that comes straight from Kotsay. And he said it in the meeting. He's like, I'm not gonna sit here and take what we took last year. We're going to make changes, and we're going to kind of prove people wrong. Like I keep saying, it's all a matter of time.
So going into this season, what do you want to do a little bit better? When we were just laughing about Kyle Muller getting married and just getting away from baseball a little bit. So this offseason, what were you like, this is what I need to focus on. This is how I'm going to get better.
I just got to be in the zone. Like I have to, and I did I think a good job this offseason of trying to be just efficient down the mound, not go at 105% trying to just blow doors down. I need to get ahead of hitters, and I need to stay on the gas pedal instead of pitch like I'm pitching on defense. I'm pitching like I'm on offense, and I'm attacking you. You're not the guy with the advantage, right? I'm the guy with the baseball, so let's make my job easier by just staying in the zone and knowing that I have good enough stuff to get you out.
Well, a Bay Area kid who's done real well for himself. And let me tell you something, you're an inspiration to a lot of people. And yes, you are a veteran. You've been around this game. You can help people in so many different ways, on the field, off the field. It's great to have you. It was great to do that banquet with you in the off season. Congratulations on that award. It was well deserved, but this year's going to even be better for you.
100%. 100%. I don't, like I said, we all hold each other to high expectations, and that's myself included. So it's going to be a good year, and I'm like I said, I can't wait.
Wow.
So
go out and get them. It's going to be a lot of fun.
100%. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Lucas Erceg right here on A's Cast. Love it. Absolutely love it. And you know, if you had a little quiet time with Mark Kotsay and you said, there was a time you were throwing him in some really high leverage situations. You don't really have a ton of high leverage situations when you win 50 games. But the A's started winning some more. And just like we talked to Kyle Muller about being thrusted into the opening day starter, he had to, Mark Kotsay was desperate. He needed who's throwing the ball somewhat well. I need to pitch you when it matters. And that became Lucas Erceg. And you now asked a guy who's learning how to, he's a thrower, right? He was a position player in AAA, had pretty good power, decided to become a pitcher. He's learning the craft of pitching again. So really he's a thrower, not a pitcher. And he starts having success because he's got an electric arm. And what do? Well, I'm desperate. I need to start throwing him in high leverage situations. I bet if you like I said, you got Mark Kotsay in a sitting around having a meal together and, shooting the bull, I bet he'd admit probably that wasn't the best for Lucas Erceg at that time. But Kotz was desperate. He was trying to win games. But once again, it's okay to get your you-know-what handed to you. There's no doubt Lucas Erceg learned from last year. Should make him better this year. And, can pump it 100 miles an hour. What have we said so many times in the past that, why don't the A's have power arms in the bullpen? Well, Lucas Erceg gives you one of those power arms. And now, because he pitched in high leverage situations and he had some success and he had some failures, listening to him, it looks like he's grown. And I think that is something, it's really hard for people to accept that until they see it. It's really hard, especially, and this is where it's always tough to blame media types, whether it's writers or broadcasters, or it's very tough for people who haven't played a whole lot of sports. It's very tough for them to see how you really learn from ultimate failure. Because in sports, we're so used to falling in love with the guy that really doesn't have that much failure. Those are really, for the most part, the stars. And that's who gets all the glory. That's who you do advertising campaigns around. They become the celebrities. Things have changed now with social media. They become social media darlings. Those people don't really have all that much. To take one of the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan really never had a hiccup other than early in his career when he broke his ankle with the Chicago Bulls. Jordan won a national championship at North Carolina, was a star in college, was a star in the NBA. He's making Gatorade commercials. Nike, he ends up choosing Nike. Nike was basically a shoe company that did running shoes. We know the rest is history. That's what you're used to. There really wasn't that. Was there? Yes, he left when his father passed away, came to play. Wasn't a gambling scandal why he suddenly retired, played baseball, and then after a certain time came rushing right back to basketball, but whatever. But from a standpoint as an athlete, Michael Jordan really didn't have, a lot of these guys, you don't have those struggles, right? Peyton Manning never really had the struggles.
No, he didn't. I mean, it's besides his first year. That was
That's
it.
not
Yeah.
that's
his rookie season.
We're talking about what Lucas Erceg has had to go through in his life.
Yeah, nothing.
So that's why it's really hard for people to look into this clubhouse and project what's going to happen because they just see 50 wins. These are no-name guys. They suck. They got no chance. And you're like, it's not how sports works. Every athlete needs an opportunity. Do you seize the moment or not? And so it's hard for people to grasp that, sometimes there's got to be ultimate failure for you to learn to really get better. Tiger Woods didn't have ultimate failure on the golf course. Jack Nicklaus, I could go whatever sport you want to go, right? You look at all the great tennis players. They were great from the time they were teens until their late 20s when they retire, or even in their early 30s. They don't face a lot of failure. Baseball is a game of failure. Most players, no matter how good they are going to fail, and at some point fail dramatically. Can the guys from last year capitalize on learning from that and using those learning experiences into this year, which culminates in coming together as a group with young talent and start seriously winning games? Is it possible? You're damn right it is.
100%. I mean, there's a lot, like we mentioned, there's a lot of young guys in the clubhouse, and it's good to see like all the A's teams prior with under the David Forrest, Billy Beane regime have been young teams that have kind of grown together. I mean, I know the 2012 team was kind of piecemeal together, but they grew together.
Way piecemeal together.
but like you go forward a couple years and you look at like the teams with Chapman, Olsen, and Simeon, they were all homegrown guys or guys they brought up through the system, and they all started learning and winning together. That's what we're hoping can happen right now with the guys like Geloff, Soderstrom, Butler, Mason Miller, Kyle Muller, JP Sears, the guys that are in the system, and hopefully that blossoms into something great for Mark Kotsay in the front office and the organization, that the A's are back on track, because we don't stay down forever. I mean, you want to look at the data. I have the data in front of me. For the last 25 years, the team has been good for several years, bad for a couple, then back good again for 4 or 5 years.
The data, I mean, the numbers are there.
Emo says it. The data doesn't lie.
The data's there. We don't stay bad forever, but everybody wants to act like we will. That's the national narrative. The national narrative is always gonna be bad, gonna be bad, gonna be bad. Then all of a sudden the A's get good and everybody's shocked. And you're like,
yeah.
You're shocked again? Like, how many times does this have to happen before you're not shocked anymore? It's fine. That's why we're here. Because we'll cover it. Because they won't. Once again, the only coverage that this organization's going to get is the outside noise. The athletes, this is where to actually get baseball coverage and to cover the actual players, the sport itself, you come to A's Cast and you come to A's Cast Live. I mean, that's just that's just how it works. And you just wonder, who's the next Scott Kazmir? Who's the next Bartolo Colon? Who's the next veteran guy that comes in here? And hopefully at some point we'll talk to Ross Stripling, because obviously he's not happy about, signed to be with the Giants and thought he'd be with a team and be competitive and all this and back problems. It just didn't work out for him. Is he the next guy? Is Alex Wood? Wood, it's been a while since he's had a really good year. That was with the Dodgers, a couple of years with the Dodgers. Can he show up and be back to a guy that throws 150 plus innings?
That'd be great for the organization to be able to get that out of him, because he was a guy that was good for the Dodgers, decent for the Giants as well. And then he was a free agent, comes here. He wanted to stay in the Bay Area, and you got his teammate Ross Stripling here. Those are two veteran guys. Hopefully one of them guys could just be, or if not both, serviceable guys, ERA under 4.
They got underused in San Francisco.
I mean, a lot of their starting pitchers.
I can't speak to all of them. I can just talk about the guys that are here. They got underused. Well, now is your opportunity, as both these guys, one's 33, the other's 34, 33, 34. They're both like 33, 34.
Yeah, they're both in there close to being in their
You're
mid-30s.
about to hit mid-30s, man. This is the time to get it back. Like I say, to be a Bartolo Colon, a Corey Lytle, a Scott Kazmir, a guy that you don't think is going to be a guy that's going to do much.
Rich Hill.
And then, Well, both Cologne and Rich Hill were old, but I'm saying you get what I'm saying. Casimir's a great example.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
these guys didn't fall to where Casimir was with the Sugarland Skeeters and independent ball, but it's like, here's veteran guys with your chance to prove you still got it.
And I'm looking forward. Like adding those two guys, I think brings a lot of veteran presence and leadership into that pitching, and not just the clubhouse, but for the young pitching staff, they have some guys they can lean on who've been starters in the major leagues, and the guys that pitched in bulk and relief outings, so that Mason Miller can talk to guys like Stripling and Wood who pitched in relief.
Well, that's Lucas Erceg could be so key this year from the standpoint of, we know Mason Miller is not a guy that every single time you got a save opportunity, he's going to be ready to go.
For sure, yeah.
That's just not the way it's going to work. He's going to be babied into this. You need another power arm. So not only can Lucas Erceg serve as a really can pitch in any high leverage situation from the 6th inning on, but he'll also be able to be a guy that on days Mason Miller can't go, he potentially could close.
For sure, and there's the additions of like a veteran guy like Trevor Gott as well. Could be a guy that gets some saves. He had some closing experience. So there's a lot of open spots on this roster, and that's why spring training is so interesting, and we're only a couple days away from the first game on Saturday.
Yeah, God is so interesting because I was looking at his numbers last night. You think I'd have more important things to do, but I don't. His numbers last year, look how even this is. 30. So he pitched 30 games in Seattle and 34 games in New York. He went 29 innings in Seattle and 29 innings in New York. So he basically had the same amount of workload from Seattle to New York.
By the way, Mason Miller's coming right now, so we can talk to him about being a closer.
All right.
So, all right, let me get it set up for him.
I love it. We are on the field. So we were going to end the show because we know we're going to tape guys a little bit later, but Mason Miller's going to come out right now and get it rocking. Get your jacket off, Cody. Let's go. All right, big man, right here. I think the last time we talked to you was in the treehouse, right? Was in the treehouse?
Yeah, I think we were chopping it up there.
Yeah,
back in April
treehouse
last year.
We were talking about you as a starter, talking about everything about how you've grown, talking about the change for you and your health, and talking about, dealing with diabetes and everything. And all of a sudden, how now the fastball came and the weight came and everything changed. And now we're opening up as, here is your new closer, Mason Miller. How what a change just from the bullpen starter this offseason. What's it been like for you?
It's an adjustment for sure. I think just the way you prepare changes, but I look forward to having the opportunity to earn that role and pitch there hopefully for a couple of years.
Well, you got the stuff. There's no doubt about that. But starting's been your main thing. So talk about, how did you learn about this change? When did you have to start realizing this was something you were going to have to get ready for?
It was something we discussed last year, obviously, after the elbow injury. And coming back, I pitched in shorter stints. That was kind of more like a hybrid role. I opened a couple games, but Kots gave me a call pretty close to the end of the season, early October, I believe it was, and said this is the way we were going to look at next year. And that's how they wanted me to prepare for the offseason and getting back out here in camp. So bought into that, and we're back here. We're ready to roll.
So then what was the difference for you this offseason preparing you've been dealing with a lot of just trying to be healthy, but if it was just a comparison, what was it like, the difference if you were going to be a full-time starter versus a guy coming out of the bullpen? What's the difference?
The closer you get to the end of the offseason, the starters start thinking about building up a little bit, getting out here. Our guys that are starting are throwing 2-inning lives. I obviously don't need to be ready to do that at this point. So, as far as training goes, it's pretty similar, staying on top of everything you need to. But as we get closer, just kind of shifting that mentality to being available to pitch more days than not and getting the body in a place where it's able to bounce back, feel good quicker, knowing that you don't have like a 5-day turn before you're going to pitch again.
How does it feel to be coming in where we're just talking about pitching?
I love it. That's what I've been wishing for a while, just
right. I haven't asked you about your arm.
Yeah.
No one's that, because that's really how every interview that you've conducted for a long time has just always been about your health. Now we can actually talk about throwing the baseball and getting people out.
Yeah, it's awesome to have that clean slate, and be able to attack a year from a standpoint of health. And plan is to carry that through all the way through October. So that's where we're at right now, and I'm excited about it.
Have you thought about because the final inning of a game, as much as the analytics people want to say high leverage anyway, there is something about the finality. This is it. Anytime it's the final of anything that we do in sports, hell, the final thing of a movie, of a play, it's the dramatic, it's the inning. Have you thought about that on a consistent basis coming out, and this is it, the last three, and the stadium's rocking, things have you thought about that?
I mean, as a starter, that's what you wanted to pitch a complete game. You wanted to be out there for the end of the game, to get that, record the final out, Nowadays
they wouldn't even let you do that when you had a no-hitter going.
Well, we were trying to keep me healthy, and obviously that ended up not helping out anyways. But, being able to work towards that and being able to be the guy on the mound with the ball at the end of the game, have that moment and, celebrate with the guys after you bring it home, that's something I relish, and the opportunity is open right now. I mean, we got several guys that can and will pitch late in games, and I'm excited to be one of those guys.
So obviously this is something that's relatively new. So but I just have some questions about it. Because obviously you're now not going, the objective is now not to go through a lineup 3 times, or if you want to finish a game 4 times, now you got to get 3 outs. Have you thought repertoire? Because sometimes it's fastball and then whatever you feel is the best swing and miss pitch. Have you thought about your arsenal, how things could change a little bit?
I mean, I think I'm fortunate that my stuff plays to righties and lefties really well. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of looked at as an option at that back end. So I think just pitching for those 3 outs, regardless who's in the box, you don't really play matchups quite as much. I mean, you can pitch around a guy, but I'm excited to, I'm coming in. I know I got these 3-4 guys maybe, and I'm gonna dominate the zone. I'm gonna dominate, whoever's in the box.
I love it because I got to tell you, all the different publications, all the magazines, there you are, man.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's talking about you. What's that been like in the offseason to where, once again, we're talking about pitching and everybody's excited to see you on the mound on a consistent basis?
I mean, I share that excitement, after last year, I just want to be out there. Spending time with the guys up there in Oakland is awesome, but, I want to be a part of that, what we're doing on the field. I kind of relish the offseason too, because you kind of get to take a step back from everything, get a little bit of perspective, see a lot of people that have had, an impact on you through your time coming up, coaches, friends, teammates, all that. So I think it gives great perspective in the offseason, just realizing how far you've come and, kind of the moment and the opportunity that you have. And, that's motivating to me. I think that is for most guys, honestly.
Do you get the sense, and I love this, it's you guys against the world? Do you guys get that sense at all in that clubhouse?
I think, yeah. I mean, the way we play, that's the only thing we can control. We got a great group of guys that, want to play for each other and we want to win. We're prideful guys too. It's not something that we like to do, to go out there and have a season like we did last year. I think that motivates everybody to, try to kick it into that extra gear, compete with each other, compete against, whoever we're on the field against. I think there's a sense of pride in, the players we are, what we can do. And now it's just showing everybody else that on a consistent basis.
Yeah, because I opened the show like, can't do that again. I mean, last year was awful. That can't happen. Everybody from the front office to the coaching staff to the players, it's got to be, everybody's pulling on the same rope. You can't go back to that. It's got to be better. And, you can speak to this as much as everybody because you've come up with some of these guys. There's some legit talent in that clubhouse.
There is. And I'm excited for the year ahead. We got a lot of our guys are here now. There's going to be development and there's going to be learning experiences. And I think a lot of guys went through that last year, myself included. And to be able to come into this year, with a clear roadmap of like what didn't work for us last year as players and as a team. And, how are we going to attack spring training? And as we head into the year, what are we going to do to, change that? Because like you said, none of us want to experience that again.
No, not at all. And what do you think you learned from your stretch? And you had some really great moments, or sometimes you didn't have great moments. What was the biggest thing do you think you learned last year about getting your taste of the big leagues?
I'm just chasing consistency. I had those highs for sure, and I love those moments, and they keep you hungry, they keep you coming back. But when you hit those outings or those starts that don't go quite as well, or you spend a couple days preparing for it, you do everything the way you wanted to, and then it just doesn't pan out the way you envisioned it on the field. It's having the ability to flush that and know that the next game's the only one you can control after that game. So just being present, being in the moment, controlling your attitude when you walk in the door, and being a good teammate regardless of how things are for you.
How much do you think about that night that you had the no going?
Not that much anymore, to be honest with you. I going down with the injury so soon after it, it's kind of.
Well, I'm not worried about not finishing it. Just
Yeah.
that night on how well you were just mowing. I mean, you had electric, you had no-hit stuff. Do you relive it? Do you think about it? Because that's you at your best.
Yeah, that's something to pride myself on for sure. It's something I look back on. It's like I ever have a moment of doubt or a moment where it's like, am I the right guy for this spot? It's like, yeah, I have the ability to do it. I have done it, and I'm going to do it again. And that attitude's everything.
Have you guys start to look at maybe a nucleus of a bullpen? We've had Lucas Erceg on earlier. Have you started? Bullpen takes shape, obviously, but there's certain guys, because there ends up being that special bond with the bullpen because you guys spend so much time with each other. You're down there all game. You're probably not used to it yet, but you spend all game. You talk about more garbage than anything. Is there, you guys, because you'll start working out together, you guys starting to get that feeling of a bullpen?
Yeah, I think as a whole we're a tight knit unit. I'm excited to have the opportunity to learn from Trevor and Scott. Some older guys that have seen it, done it, been a part of some good teams, and I'm excited for what they're going to bring for us, and to be a part of that. That group that's elevating each other, and it's not so much who's getting the ball in this inning. It's we got a group of guys where it's like we can feel confident. Like I want to fight for this guy. I'm going to keep. If you come in after him, it's like I'm going to keep his runs. Like I'm going to keep those off the board. And I'm excited to be a part of a group like that. That's something I haven't done yet.
All right, let's end on this. How powerful was the opening speech by Mark Kotsay and the way he talked about Brent Rooker?
It was awesome. Kotz makes you want to run through a wall for sure. And I know that if it was up to him, I think he'd still be playing. He's got that mentality. He's got that player's mentality, and that's somebody you want to play for. I think Rooker embodies that well too. Seeing his story last year and how everything unfolded, through the beginning of the year, middle of the year, where he struggled a little bit and finishing on a high note. That's a guy that you want on your team. That's an awesome guy that leads by example. Brings his best foot forward no matter how he's playing. And that's a leader for us, and we need that.
Well, the last couple of years, you've just been a guy that's about being a prospect. They now got you as a guy that's coming in to perform.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for you. I think this could be maybe in the future you go back to starting, but this could be a role that could put you into a whole new level in our game. This could be something that suits you and turns you into a quick superstar pretty quick.
Absolutely. I'm ready to embrace it. So
let's get it going.
I'm
excited for you.
Absolutely.
Do you want me to break? So we're going to break, but enjoy. Go out there and take it to them, and we'll see you back in Oakland.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Chris.
We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by the stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.
Hey, it's Eno Saris, your friendly neighborhood baseball scribe. There are two things I love, baseball and beer. When I'm not busy around the ballpark, you'll likely catch me back with a cold one at any of Fieldwork Brewing's 8 locations sprinkled across the Bay Area. Fieldwork's got a rotating lineup of over 20 beers on tap that's as diverse as any 26-man roster. They got everything from super juicy hazy IPAs to crisp pilsners and tropical sours that make your taste buds do the wave. Whether you're all about that draft life or prefer to grab some cans to go, Fieldworks got your bases covered. Check them out at fieldworkbrewing.com to learn more. That's fieldworkbrewing.com.
It's almost that time again, A's fans. Spring training will be here before you know it, and the Oakland Athletics will be celebrating 10 years at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 24th, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends.
Lawrence Butler, it's a fly ball to left field. It's deep. Has a chance opposite field. Home run, Lawrence Butler.
Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Ever since we got Xfinity, we have Wi-Fi all over the house, even in my hiding spots.
Ha! Found you.
How?
That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Now through March 21st, get started with 200 megabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
If you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see our friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
Streaming from A's Spring Training, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Hey, I'll tell you, when we got done with that interview, had a little chat with him. And I told him, so you could be like Jason Isringhausen. Jason Isringhausen was a guy that, look up how much money he made.
Okay, hold on.
Jason Isringhausen was one of those big three. It was Paul Wilson, Pulsiver. What was Pulsiver's first name?
What were they called? Generation X or something?
Phil
or
Pulsiver?
Generation Z. We got the Mets guy. He should know.
Hey, Mets fan. It was Pulsiver, Wilson, and Isringhausen were their big three. And, you know, pitching with the Mets have never had an MVP, but they've had Cy Young awards. Do you know that? The Mets have never had an MVP, but they've had Cy Young. So then the next big three, well, they had DeGrom and Syndergaard. I don't know who the other guy was.
56 million, almost 57 million.
Okay, so Isringhausen, what was the name? Mets
Generation K.
Generation K. How cheesy is that? So Isringhausen, none of them could stay healthy. Isringhausen couldn't stay healthy. Billy Beane trades for him, makes him a closer. We just had Jason Isringhausen on. Was it last year or the year before?
I think it was the year before.
He was going into the Cardinals Hall of Fame. He made $56 million, all because he stopped trying to be a starter and went to be a closer. I brought that up to Mason Miller. I don't even know if Mason Miller knows who Jason Isringhausen is now that I think about it.
He might. Maybe. He might have been born on Isringhausen.
I just said you could be like Jason Isringhausen, have a great career, make a lot of money.
I think Isringhausen was big but his first big was 2000, and I think that's when Mason Miller was born. I know.
What year did we trade for him?
He was.
By the way, I think I was on KMBR. I had Billy Beane. This is how long Billy Beane and I go back. I had Billy Beane on KMBR. It was a Saturday night, the night that he traded for Isringhausen, and I had
his first year was 2000. So his first year at the A's, Mason Miller, I think.
Yeah, I was still at KMBR at the time.
Let me make sure.
I interviewed Billy Beane on KMBR because no one used to bring Billy Beane on. I used to have Billy Beane. I had Billy Beane on after the Isringhausen trade.
Sorry, Mason Miller's born in, I thought it was 2000, 1998. So he would have been 2 years old when Isringhausen was in.
I'll never forget that. We had Beane on. I remember I texted him, hey, you got to come on and talk about this trade. Because who you think people used to have Beane on when before money, well before a playoff appearance, well before Moneyball? No one give a crap about Billy Beane.
Thank you, Billy Beane.
That's that's who Mason Miller could be. And we just had a brief conversation during the commercial break where I was like, yeah, you could be Jason Isringhausen. Got to be excited, man. You're going to be able to pitch a lot. You could be in the All-Star game. You're a closer. Mason Miller goes out. Mason Miller could literally go out fastball slider combination. And I mean, I don't know how many save opportunities. Let's just call it 30 saves. Mason Miller could be representing the Athletics in Texas at the All-Star game. It could be the start of multiple All-Star game appearances. Next thing you know, throughout his career, he makes X amount of millions of dollars, takes care of his family for years. He may have a better chance of doing that than being a guy that every single time that he goes, let me tell you what a Mason Miller start's like. Is he okay? Can we take him out? Is his elbow? Can I look now? Can I look? That's a Mason Miller start. Guy had a no-hitter going, and it was freak out city. Like, literally, I don't know what your value is if you go 5 innings every 6 days. What really is your value? If you look at the percentage of, okay, look at the amount of innings, look how much you played in, it's such a low percentage, how valuable are you? People want to know in other sports, how many snaps do you play? How many minutes are you on the floor? How many minutes are you on the ice? Baseball, how many at-bats you getting? How many innings you giving me? Well, if I have X amount of innings and you barely pitch any, I don't know how valuable you are. And they keep selling us all the time. Well, we just want to be healthy for the postseason. Well, how many of these guys end up even being healthy for the postseason? Or do you actually somehow, like 2 years ago, Scherzer, DeGrom, Mets, if we could just have them healthy for the postseason, oh, they were healthy and they got bounced by the Padres at home.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're saving everybody for what? Mason Miller could have an opportunity to pitch in a lot of games and a lot of meaningful games and have a great career and make a lot of money for himself being a closer for the Oakland Athletics. It's just a fact.
I'm all aboard that train.
I got a better chance of keeping him healthy this way than I do. Do you want to know what? Do you want me to do a Mason Miller start again? Hold your breath. Don't look. Cross your fingers. Oh my God, does he stay healthy? I mean, you want to do that for the next couple of years?
No, I like the idea of him being a closer because it's right up the track with AJ Puck. Now Puck had a down year with the Marlins, but I think he might have found his role.
Great example. You got AJ Puck has a better chance of earning money in this game as a reliever than he does a starter.
Fact. Josh Hader was a former starter, and look at him now. He's one of the greatest. Well, not one of the greatest closers
What
yet.
the Kraken Miller, the old Indian.
Oh, Andrew Miller.
Andrew Miller.
As a Kraken. Are you talking about hockey?
Oh, he was the Kraken. He came out of the bullpen. It was over. Andrew Miller is another great example.
Yep.
Starter, couldn't get it done. Dennis Eckersley. I hate when people bring up Eckersley like this because they go, failed start. Dennis Eckersley was a failed starter because of alcohol, because of his problem. When Eck got sober and turned his career around, they did it out of the bullpen. But Eck won 100 games.
Yeah.
Eck won 100 games, for God's sakes. I could go back to the great Ray Fosse and talk to Ray Fosse, who we miss still to this day dearly.
Name's right there.
Yep, the Ray Fosse.
I don't know if I could see it, but it's up there on the press box.
I mean, he threw a no-hitter to Ray Fosse, but, I mean, the guy won a ton of games as a starter. Remember, he wasn't doing Boston Red Sox games because of his closing. It's because of what he did for them as a starter. I mean, X should never be brought. X, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He won 100 games. He saved over 300. He's not in that conversation. His problem was with substances. But these other guys Raleigh Fingers. I just did fantasy camp. I did the interview with Raleigh Fingers. Raleigh Fingers said I sucked as a starter. I mean, some guys are not good at starting. Some guys can't stay healthy starting. But you know what? They can have great careers. They can make all-star games. They can make millions. Hell, some can go to the Hall of Fame. Mason Miller, we got a better chance of having that dynamic arm on the mound more often than not, coming out of the bullpen, and he's got a stuff to be the closer, and all he needs is slider fastball. His fastball-slider combination is all he needs to go out and get me 3 outs at the end of the game. And if you don't think that the last 3 outs mean something, you've never done it before. And I don't care what level you've done it. I know I've only done it in college. I got some saves in my career. But I'm going to tell you, there is something different about the finality of a performance. You can ask any actor, any singer, any athlete, the end of the game. Why are the biggest deals the end of a concert?
That's the most.
Give me an
packed.
analytics dork down here. Give me a data nerd down here and tell me why is the end of the movie so important? The middle of the movie is not the middle movie's setting up the ending.
The end of the game.
It's a high leverage situation. The end of the movie is the most important. Why does the band go, thank you, everybody, and they walk off and everybody chants, and then here comes the encore? The ending's the most important.
Because they're trying to, what they're doing is they're finishing the story.
How you feeling, Niner fans? Are you going to tell me the end of the game's not the most important?
Oh, wow.
Had
to go there, huh?
Cheap shot.
Hey,
I wish I could take that back. Can you edit that?
I was really rooting for a double overtime Super Bowl game.
Are you going to tell me the end of the game is not important? Well, that's not. There could be a more high leverage situation in the 7th or the 8th inning because your ass has never been out there in the 9th inning. Because in the 9th inning, let me tell you something, it's way more nerve wracking than the 8th. It's way more nerve wracking than the 6th or the 7th. Even when you come into a high leverage situation, nothing's more nerve wracking than that 9th inning. It's the finality. Because if you screw it up, you either lose or you're now going into extra innings. There is pressure. There is pressure in the 9th inning that there's not. You don't lose the game. You know what? I can come in the 7th inning and I can give it up. Did we lose?
You don't know.
You don't know.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Put your rally caps on. The team can come back and get those 2 runs back. You still have, okay, so just humor me here. We're in the 7th inning. Home team. I come in out of the bullpen. I've got maybe 2 inherited runners. I give those 2 up. We're now down by 2. Well, guess what? I've got 9 more outs from my offense to get those 2 runs back.
Correct, yes.
What about the 9th inning?
Yeah.
If I give up those 2, my offense now only has 3 outs to get it back. Don't tell me that's what I respect the data people, and the data people are important. All data is important. That's why we have it in business. That's why we have it in sports. But when you just live by it and swear by it, yeah, it's like you've got to have somebody in the 9th inning who has the stones to be able to handle the finality of the game / performance. This is the entertainment business. That's why the best of the best got to come out in the end. Or what makes the great quarterbacks the great quarterbacks? Because they blew you out in the first quarter, or what they did in the fourth quarter?
Fourth quarter or overtime like Patrick Mahomes.
There you go.
So, well, sorry, is that another cheap shot? Or?
So, you keep going after it. I did it once. But see, the thing for me for the Super Bowl was really hard because I don't like either team as a Raider fan.
You hope both teams lost.
Which wasn't possible. And then I could do my really horrible joke that I always say, I was rooting for injuries. But that's really horrible.
Wow.
That's horrible.
So you rooted for Dragon a lot of tears Achilles.
No. That was terrible.
That was a freak accident.
Yeah, there was a no win for me in that Super Bowl. But now all my Niner fans who talk a big game, because you got to remember, when I first arrived to the Bay Area in 91, I kept hearing about how the Niners never lose in the Super Bowl. That's all I used to hear. Well, we've never lost. I don't care how much the Steelers have won. We've never lost in the Super Bowl. Remember that? The Niners were the only team that never lost in the Super Bowl, and they love telling you that. Joe Montana never threw an interception in the Super Bowl. Niners have never lost a Super Bowl. Steve Young never lost a Super Bowl. How have they done their last 3?
This kid's being born now going, Niners never won a Super Bowl in my lifetime.
Wow. Funny how things change. Don't hate us, Niner fan. You had a great year. And you are the favorite to go back.
So, hey, everything's going to change next year when Russell Wilson's a Steeler. That's what I want to keep saying. I'd rather have Mason Rudolph.
Have fun with that. But no, I'm excited about Mason Miller. I mean, you're talking about, 100 plus miles an hour, that wicked slider. Let's go. And I do think once he evolves and gets comfortable, he could be an all-star closer. We could have an all-star closer. This group is growing together, right? Now you start looking at the talent. The outside world has no idea. Our inside world, we know there's talent here. You start looking at Geloff. You start looking at guys that could be primetime talents. And Mason Miller as a closer could be that guy.
I totally see it. I'm very high on
Where's
him.
J.P. Sears in his 32 starts? I've been excited to talk to Sears.
He was on our list, so maybe we'll get him later on or tomorrow morning.
All right, so that's going to do it for the show today because we have to wait. The players' unions here, they're having
some meeting.
So here's the deal with spring training. You come here and there's all kinds of, this is the beginning of spring training. It's the best time to come to get all these guys because once game starts, it's a zoo. So we just sit around. We got to wait because there's always stuff going on. I believe the players' union's here today, meeting with the players players' union will go to every single spring training facility and talk with the players. So we're going to get players later on today. I hope you enjoyed the first day. Cactus League action 2024, our first show, our first official show of the season. Once again, we'll have you covered throughout the entire season. I hope you enjoyed Kyle Muller. I hope you enjoyed Lucas Erceg. I hope you enjoyed Joey Estes and now Mason Miller. It's been a fun show today. We will be back tomorrow from the field, Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Day one in the books. We'll see everybody tomorrow right here on A's Cast and A's Cast Live.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by the stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.